Well, everyone, welcome here to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. We are here coming to you live here on a very beautiful sunsplash day for the 95th running of the Indianapolis 500. Um, I am joined here in the commentary booth by Agent and Bubble here in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway in Speedway, Indiana. So this is a very special race today for everyone. We are all very excited to get this started and going. So, what makes this race so special today is this is the 100th anniversary of the Indianapolis 500 since its inaugural race in 1911. So, I believe we are all just as excited as everyone else. So, Agent, I'm going to turn this over to you real quick. What are your thoughts right here on this race? Like, what are we going to expect, and how do you feel?
I'm really excited. I think it's gonna be a big strategy race, and just the fact we're able to put this on big event. I don't know if it was mentioned before, but I think it's about 3,000 Robux on the line for the winner. So high stakes for the drivers here today.
Indeed, there is. So, Bubble, are you wanting to say anything?
I would like to mention the stakes were up to 5,000
Ooh,
just today. So there's a lot on the line for these drivers, and it's going to be a hard fight to the end because I just changed the draft package, so there's a lot of dirty air, but whenever these things get on the straights, they are just flying, and the draft is crazy. I mean, if in a test race earlier, we had Corey Wilson and Ford fighting for a win, and Corey was, I believe, 7 tenths back at the final lap, which normally he wouldn't catch. He would stay about the same gap at a track like this, but he caught up and beat him in a photo finish. So we could see something like that today.
Indeed, we could. We are debuting the new IRO5 model car. This is, I would say, one of the most beloved cars by the Bubble community. It is fast, it's loud, and has produced some great racing in its years from 2003 to 2011. Um, so we are really excited to debut this car next season after the conclusion of this year's Verizon IndyCar Series event. We will be switching over to the IRO5, and it will make its first official debut at St. Pete. So, really excited to see what this car can do here today. We could see some very intense racing as well as some very interesting strategy from everyone else. Agent?
absolutely. I'd like to talk about the strategy a little bit more. We're doing a full length, full 200 laps, I believe, and the fuel run, it's a little bit of an unknown right now. We think it'll be similar to what we saw in the Bubbles 325, which is around 33, 34 laps. We might see a little bit of saving because if you can hit that 34 more than you can hit the 33, you will be able to make it, I believe, on 5 stops. And another thing to add to that, which is has been recently added to the IndyCar League and is present here, is saving fuel will make a shorter pit stop, and you could gain track position if you save fuel and have a shorter pit stop.
That is correct. So I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about yesterday's race at Road America, if that is something you are wanting to discuss.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, yeah, yesterday for Road America, a bit of a struggle for Chip Ganassi, but which, funnily enough, they come away with a win for the team, but a rough day for most of us, and they didn't even get the most points. I believe Foyt ended up with the most points, so a rough team day. Congrats to Ford. It was a good win. It was a great race at the end, but just a rough day all around, and we're gonna be coming back for Pocono. I think Pocono's gonna be a very strong race for us. We've been good in testing, so looking forward
Well,
to next week.
I love to hear your optimism as they roll off pit road onto the track. I think we should go over grid order. So starting off, right now leading the field is the number 14 AJ Foyt Enterprises machine of Anthony Anderson in that ABC Supply Co livery. Anthony had a very very good day. He was one of the top contenders to win the Road America race yesterday, but unfortunately fell short after a little bit of contact between him and Dimitros.
Yep, and behind him, starting the middle of the first row, will be Brown and the Honda-powered number 99 car. He's shown some pace in testing, kind of up and down. He's worked on his wing levels a lot. I expect him to be one that's going to change his wing levels depending on what stage of the race he's in. If he expects to be near the back, he will likely change his wing level, go on a pit stop strategy. Brown's always one to play the strategy.
So right there, there's some sort of issue going on right now. Carter in the number 38 Rahal Letterman machine has spun out. I do not know what is happening there. We have not received any word from race control if we are going green this time, but at the moment we will continue discussing who is going to be where all the grid order positions. So next up is 24K and that number 10 Target Chip Ganassi machine. He was, I would say, the MVP yesterday at Road America. He led the most laps and had an absolute dominant performance. So we have just received word we will be going green next time, so that gives us enough time to cover the rest of the field.
And yep, starting on the inside of the second row, that is Zed in the number 3. That's a Penske car, always very strong here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I think Zed as a driver is also one who's very good at the super speedways on these big ovals, and I think he's also someone that knows how to save fuel and play the strategy right. I think he'll be a contender at the end.
Starting after him is that Andretti Autosport number 28 GoDaddy machine. That is Napa Boy. Napa has not had the best season so far. He definitely struggled a little bit at Road America yesterday with a couple penalties, but he is starting pretty close up front, so we could see a bit of action between him and the rest of the drivers. He is known for his very, very, I would say, almost aggressive style of driving, so keep your eyes on him.
Yep, and then putting Napa in a Penske sandwich on the second row, starting on the outside, is yesterday's winner, Ford in the number 12 car. He's really lit up the IndyCar league recently after joining mid-season. He's already moved up. I believe he's now in the top 10 in points, and he's hopped in 2 wins, a win at Toronto, a win yesterday at Road America, contending at Auto Club before he got the penalty and was demoted to a 3rd place, still a podium. He will round out the second row.
Coming up after him is Discharge, also known as Game Winner, in that number 4 Panther Racing National Guard car. Now, Game Winner struggled yesterday with some mechanical issues in Road America. He has not been the most consistent driver in the field, so we should pay attention to him, but he is liable to... He's a wild card, in my opinion. So I'll definitely keep my eye out for him.
And someone the entire field is going to be watching is the next car in line. That is Kimi, a fan favorite, driving the number 82 Honda-powered machine for this race. And a nice Lotus livery. Very beautiful car. That might be my favorite in this field. I was going to say starting in the middle, but I think Zed went to the back, so that might make him start on the inside. Yes, the inside of the third row will be Kimi.
Making his debut for KV Racing. After him is Carter in that 38 Rahal Letterman Service Central machine. Has been threatened with his risk of having his license revoked, but today could definitely be the day to prove himself if he wins that Robux.
Yep, and then Zed has gone further back, and Dim will bring up the rear, and the number 22 car. We're going to start going triple file off of turn 4 and get ready to take the green. It'll be Anthony on the inside as the drivers are getting ready. Green flag is out here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and there's immediately a crash, and caution is out. Someone flipped to the back. I think it was Dim. He might have jumped the start, and so immediately we get a caution.
That is very tough way for Dimitros to start his race. Remember yesterday, he was the source of conflict between many drivers. This was a bright and optimistic day for him to turn around, and this is not the start he was anticipating. So very tough break for him.
Definitely not. That as he jumps out of his car. I don't know if getting wheel damage. I don't know what the rules on the resets are. But Dim.
Yeah, he is going to counter reset because of the front wing. With the Iro 5, it's an entire single system. Which, by the way, the start was messed up. It was something in the middle that happened. Someone didn't go, and Dim tried to move up, and he wheel launched off of one of the cars in the back and flew up and actually grazed the fence just a little bit.
And Dim's backing up and going to the pits. I don't know if pits are open. I also do not know the legality of backing up on the racetrack in order to make it back to the pit lane and then speeding on the pit lane.
So, Brian Barnhart is not going to like that.
Kind of breaking every rule at once here is Dim. I'm not sure what race control will deem the ruling on that is, as he will take a pit stop, very quick one. Obviously didn't take a lot of fuel there, so very quick pit stop for Dim. He will be back out at the tail end of the field.
So we have not received word we are going green this time. I do not know yet. We have yet to hear from race control. So while we wait on that, one thing I think we should point out, our honorary starter, who will be waving the green flag, it is going to be Mary Holman George over in the flag stand today. Will be waving the green flag. We have just received word it will be green next time. So pits will be open. We will see who's taking.
So far, it looks like the entire field. Will anyone pull out last second? No. Except for Zed in the back, the entire field is going to the pits, including Dim. And it's very quick pit stops. Is going to be tight down here in pit lane.
Well, Bubble, what do you think so far?
I think we're having troubles getting to hearing from Bubble. Meanwhile, off of pit lane, oh man, a close race between Corey and Brown. Corey Wilson just keeps the spot. He's not taking the pit exit access road, and Brown gets hit from behind by Anthony. And they'll sort all this out. We should be green this time, and Zed will be your new leader with Corey Wilson behind him and Brown in third. So a little bit of a split on strategy here with Zed. I'm not sure why he would decide to stay out when the entire field is coming down. I think really what this is just making that the 5-stop strategy just a little bit easier, so you don't really have to save in order to make that work.
So 24K is our leader off pit road, but Zed is the overall leader right now as he stayed out. So we will be going green this time. The fans are all on their feet after a very, very chaotic start. Looks like we are set to go green this time for the 95th running of the Indianapolis 500. Mary Holman George will be starting us off in the flag stand. So we're excited to see this.
Yep, and we just got word that race control will be controlling these restarts. So Zed will not get a huge advantage out from the lead. He will have to react to the green flag just as every other driver in the field will.
Down into turn 3, you see the fans are saluting all the drivers. This is going to be a long race in contact. Oh, Brown goes around. Yikes. That is not going to look good.
It's a little bit messy in their pacing. They're going to want to sort this out, as actually green flag is out here, but in the short shoot of turns 3 and 4, Zed leads, but a good jump for Corey Wilson. He's going to have big slipstream as we are going to fly down the front straightaway at speed for the first time. And Corey Wilson, big slipstream to the inside. He's going to look to take the lead. Zed leads the lap, but Corey Wilson has the position into turn 1 and takes the lead here at Indy.
Zed and Corey Wilson battling it out as they head down through the short chute, down into turn 2. 24K looks to take that early lead, but remember, this is a very, very long race, so I think the smart decision for everyone would be to just fuel save. But right now, these two are battling it out side by side down the back straightaway and into turn 3.
Yep, Zed on the inside. He misses the turn-in. Corey Wilson and him make contact, as Zed will keep the position on the inside. Luckily, both drivers escape without any damage, as that's actually allowed Brown in the 3rd position and Discharge in the 4th position to catch up. A good couple of corners for both of those drivers. Then there's a gap back to Ford on the inside of Anthony. Up front, Corey Wilson with a bit of a run on the outside. Can he make this move stick into turn 1 side by side?
Side by side right now. Brown is behind you. I'm having a little bit of some connection issues, but Brown is right there behind him in that 99 car. He's looking to make a move down onto 24K. As look at this with Discharge with a slingshot run here, and that National Guard smacks the wall and drops back.
Now Brown to the outside of Corey Wilson in turns 3. They're side by side in the short chute again through turn 4. I think Corey Wilson have the advantage on the inside and retake the lead, as they are going to be really tight off of turn 4. Brown kind of staying in the slipstream of Corey Wilson, offsetting a little bit, and the pack is starting to single out, and I imagine people are starting to save fuel.
That is definitely the smart play for this race, is you want to be saving fuel early on. This is 200 laps. This is nothing like drivers have ever done before here at Indianapolis. This is longer than the bubble 325. So the smart decision for everyone would be to drop back and to begin saving fuel. So I'm going to real quickly go on to Kimi over in that 82 kV racing car. He is probably one of the smartest drivers in the field. He has dropped all the way back to second to last. I think he's going to let Carter by him. His strategy, I'm not sure what his strategy is or what KV Racing is cooking up in their pit box, but whatever it is, this is a very smart driver with a very good team, so I'm excited to see what will turn out with him.
Yep, on board with Kimi here off of turn 4. You see how much he's having to lift in the middle of the corners. The leaders are flying away. We're going to watch his telemetry here into turn 1. He's not really lifting. He's going to have Carter to his inside, and Carter makes the pass.
Contact.
Up front.
Huge crash here in the
like
short chute.
Discharge.
That is Discharge. That is very unfortunate. It was Discharge, and I think one other person. I did not see who that was. Ooh.
Discharge
It
is
is.
not very happy.
It's Ford.
So we hear Discharge exclaim over the radio, "Great job," very sarcastically. I'm not sure if he's talking about Ford or not, and Ford has damage. That's going to count as a reset.
Not what Roger Penske wants to see today. Ford will be making his switch over to Penske, I am sure, for the 2011 season, so this is definitely not what Roger wants to see. This is not the best first impression for this driver.
That's right, not Mr. Penske, or for the team over at Panther Racing. They get an early reset as pits are open. Ford has it dropped to the back, and everyone is coming again except for Zed.
They roar down the pits right there. 24K has already completed his stop now, and he's off the pit road. I'm having a few lag issues right now, so pardon me. But Zed is staying out once again.
There's still 2 cars yet to pit up front. Brown coming to the stall. These are just splash and go stops. Dim is going to pit as Corey Wilson comes out in front of Brown, and Dim is out in third. Behind, it's then Anthony, Napa, Kimi, Discharge, Carter, and Ford. And Zed, again, will lead them to the green on the restart. So Zed has yet to pit, while every other driver in the field has made 2 pit stops.
Well, it seems Discharge is back in his new car. That's 100% not what John Barnes wanted to see. His Panther Racing car crumbled like that. So Barnes is currently speaking to Brian Barnhart about this. He wants maybe Ford to have a penalty for that avoidable contact.
As we expect to see green this time, we only got a pits open message. I think we're still waiting on a green this time message from race control. Last time they threw the green right in the middle of the turns 3 and 4 short chute, and there we go. It'll be the same deal as last time. Green this time. Every driver will have to react to the green flag. None of the shenanigans like we saw last night at the IndyCar Racing Gateway. Every driver just has to react to the green.
One reacting to the green right now. So, who is someone you have your eye on as we're coming to the green flag? Who do you have your eye on most right now? Like, who do you believe is going to be the most, I would say, almost interesting driver to watch during this race?
We've only seen a few laps, but from what I saw, after a certain point, after about the first 4 cars, the dirty air was a lot to deal with, and we started to see a split in the pack. But there was one driver, and that was the driver of Dim, who was able to go. Owen Brown does not go off the restart. Kimmy gets up in the air. They're 3 wide and behind. Napa spins, and Carter's in the grass. They both save it. Brown takes the access road. I think he's gonna back out and be at the back of the pack. So we're gonna commit to the green flag as again, Corey Wilson looking to the inside. He does not make the pass before the line, as Dim has a run into turn 1, but he's wide. As I was saying, Dim, I think, did the best at overcoming some of the dirty air before. As we see, race control gives Brown a drive-through penalty for the move on the restart there.
Definitely not what Brown wants to see. Not Michael Andretti. I believe that is Schmidt-Peterson's. Yes, Schmidt-Peterson's car. Definitely not what he wants to see for his driver. Brown is one of the most consistent drivers I've seen in this series. So this is not at all a good way to start out to this race. Yep. Looks like he's going in right now to serve his penalty. Yes, he is.
Oh, and he hits the attenuator. I don't know if he lagged or what happened. As into turn 1 up front, they're side by side. I'm not sure what happened to Brown, though. A huge hit.
That is not going to look good on his resume. Brown is a rookie driver for this team. Well, not a rookie driver, excuse me. This is second year with Michael Andretti. So this is definitely not going to look good with him. This could be a source of conflict right now as Ford takes the lead away from 24K. Remember, this is still very, very early on in the race. Ford, I have not heard anything about what his strategy might be, but as 24K looks to take that lead away and Zed go around him, I believe Ford might be fuel saving right now.
I imagine so. We saw a big run for the other 2 cars on the straightaway, as they're still going to be fighting here in turn 2. Zed was able to pull the crossover through turn 1 onto the short chute, and they are side by side down the back straightaway. This will be a good display of who has more wing level on, and it looks pretty dead even as they're coming down into turn 3.
Right, that is something we also do want to talk about. How important do you think the wing levels will be in this race, Agent?
Oh, it is extremely important. It can determine the outcome of your race. As someone who's driven with these wing levels a lot, you know, if you're on a 1 or a 2, just the lowest wing level possible, you will fly down the straights, as we see Ford doing just that. But the dirty air is almost unbearable. You have to lift so much in the corners that you will lose out tremendously time-wise if you're behind multiple cars with a very low wing setting. Now, a higher wing setting, you can basically take it full throttle through the corners in dirty air, but when you get on the straightaways, you feel very slow as Ford is fuel saving, and I believe Corey Wilson is doing the same thing behind him.
See right there, Zed slingshots away from him in that number 3 Shell Penske car. Meanwhile, in the back, Carter and Dimitros are fuel saving big, as well as Anthony. Now, I think Anthony, honestly, in this field might be one of the smartest drivers. He is an amazing fuel saver. I have raced with him before in several leagues, and I would say he is probably one of, if not the best fuel saver in the field. Always early on in the race, he immediately drops back into the back of the field and saves as much as he can. As I'm watching his dashboard, you see how he's going just around the minimum speed to save some of that fuel. Meanwhile, up front, that three-way battle for the lead continues between Ford, Zed, and 24K.
Yep, Ford leads that battle now. I think he is on a trimmed out wing setting. Not uncommon to see on that number 12 car, as he does lead from Zed. And yeah, look at how difficult it is for Zed to pull up to the back of him. He's in the slipstream now. I think Zed might be fuel saving here. But yeah, the wing levels are very important. When it came to my IndyCar race in Texas a couple months back, I made a pivotal decision on the last restart to pit and go to a level 5 wing, which is the highest setting, and I was able to carve through the field and win the race. So the wing levels can determine the outcome of this race.
Indeed it can. So right now, 24K smacks the wall coming into the short chute. That is not at all what Chip Ganassi wants to see. These 4 drivers up front have a pretty wide margin from Game Winner, in his car. Game Winner right now, I am not sure what his strategy might be or what he plans on doing. I believe he is fuel saving right now. Actually, yes, he is fuel saving. A lot of these drivers are fuel saving, but we just have not really received any word about strategy, so I'm interested to see how all this is going to play out.
Definitely. We see Kimi has made his way back up into this pack. So Kimi up to 4th, is able to catch up to this pack. I think he might have been pushing for a couple laps. And now that he's up here, I wouldn't be surprised if we see him fuel save a little bit. See him lifting down to just under 200 miles an hour there in the corners. And we're going to watch his throttle trace here down the front straightaway. Big slingshot up to the back of Corey Wilson, looking to the inside, 243 miles an hour. He lifts very late, very committed, makes the pass for 3rd place.
And same thing for the lead. Zed just did the same slingshot and got the lead from Ford.
That was a very bold move from Zed. Right now, I believe he might have, I do not know who has led the most laps. I would guess he might have. I would say yes.
Major move. Look at this, Kimi.
Ooh,
I'm down the inside.
Kimi with a big slingshot.
He is doing. He has definitely been one of the best fuel savers. I do not think he is saving right now, though.
I don't think so either. We saw him get the slingshot off of 2 and 3 cars, getting a huge run. They're snaking down the front straightaway. Zed trying to break the toe. Kimi has had huge runs, and I think Zed and Kimi are going after it right now. Normally, you don't see that kind of weaving until there's about 5 laps to go. Here on lap 16, they are already trying to break the draft.
And remember, just a little reminder, the IndyCar Series has in fact banned snaking below the pit line on the front stretch. You can go as low as you want here on the back, but when it comes to the front straight, you cannot go below that white line. You will be penalized. So all these drivers need to keep that in mind, that they will start receiving penalties going below that line. It provides a huge risk for someone, as they could potentially hit the attenuator.
Here we go then. Kimi with a good run this time. On the front straightaway, he's looking to the inside. Zed's going to give him that side of the track. Kimi is more than alongside enough, and he will take the lead into turn 1. So Kimi is your new leader, and Ford with a big run. He's going to look for a move in the short chute. That's not going to work. So out of turn 2, Kimi is in the lead of the 95th Indianapolis 500.
So Ford and Zed are teammates. So if you ask me, these two should be working together right now. Maybe fuel saving a bit, or even trying to figure out a way that they could overtake Kimi. But right now, I've noticed not Ford. Zed has been tapping the wall a couple times throughout this race. So that's definitely not something you want to see. Remember, you can get a penalty for excessive wall taps. With these dirty air cars, it is going to be extremely difficult to not tap the wall, but it's just something you got to master with these. As Zed looks to make a move on Kimmy.
He's got to run.
He's there.
in the
He's down the
short shoot.
inside.
That's a tight move to make in the short shoot, but he's going to make it stick, and Kimmy leaves in the room. I think Kimmy realizes it's lap 18 out of a 200-lap race. He just wants to survive and make it to the end. So he left him room, even though it was a very late move in the short shoot, as Zed will take the lead into turn 3.
Oh, check. So I almost hit their tire.
One thing I also want to bring up.
Oh, we got a wreck in the back. Game winner and Dim.
Big wreck.
They're wrecking.
Back.
Dim's out of the race.
Dim.
It's over.
Yellow is out. Dimitros. This is going to be our second caution. This is, oh my, Dimitros is going to be our first DNF here in this race. Very disappointing for Dale Coyne Racing. Definitely not what he wants to see.
And we're not sure what happened there, but I don't think Dim's very happy based on the fact that he's going full throttle right now under caution. He's going to need to cool it down if he wants to participate in these races in the future, and you don't want to see this. No, don't do it. Oh, no. He runs into
he is
discharge.
not happy.
That frankly,
He is not happy with discharge at all.
That, quite frankly, is unacceptable in open wheel racing.
That is unacceptable.
All right,
When he hits Carter,
I looked at this under investigation. Dim's reset is not going to count. The wreck was like not his fault at all. He actually made it through. It was terrible collisions on the car.
Well, quite honestly, I think Dim should be out of the race after running into other cars under pacing. That's unacceptable in open wheel racing. You just don't do it.
Unacceptable everywhere.
Yeah.
He catches up to Game Winner. I'm listening to their radio right now. He wants to have a word with Game Winner after the race. Right now, his team owner, Dale Coyne, is not happy. I think he's going to go speak to John Barnes, the owner of Panther Racing, over in the pit. So I believe pits will be open this lap, and we will be going green next time, but we are still waiting on that confirmation from race control.
So quite a lot of drama here early. And yeah, there we go. Dim has been given a drive-through penalty. I believe that is for the collision there under yellow. He was trying to run into discharge. He ran into him once, tried to run into him again, and actually hit Carter. So Carter, an innocent bystander, brought up in some of the carnage. As pits are now open, and I looked at Zed, and I wonder if he will come into the pits this time.
If I were Zed, I would pit now, but no, I think he is staying out. Actually, no, he fakes it and goes out. Napa Boy this time is going to be staying out. So everyone going down pit road.
We're going to have to watch and see who can gain and lose the most, because remember, Zed has stayed out this whole race. He will have a longer pit stop. It will take longer to refuel his car than anyone else's, so I expect him to lose some spots here on pit lane. As here we go, we're watching Zed. Zed in the pit stop. Kimmy goes by. Ford, Corey Wilson, Anthony. He comes out just ahead of Anthony and Carter. So he lost 3 spots on pit road because of the longer pit stop.
Kimmy will lead them off pit road, followed by Ford, 24K Zed, and Anthony. I do not know when Dimitros will have to serve that drive-through penalty, but that is 100% what Dale Coyne does not want to see here. His team is already struggling financially. Dimitros causing that incident is not at all going to make Mr. Coyne happy.
Right, I believe it's either the second or third lap after the green flag. He will have to serve the drive-through penalty under green, so he cannot serve it this time as we take the green. He has to serve it after we come around for a full lap at speed. And this time it'll be Napa who stayed out, and he will lead the field to the green flag.
24K, I am not sure what is happening there with him. He just randomly went off the track. I don't think race control is going to like that at all.
I think there might have been some contact with Zed under caution. So lots of contact under caution so far. I think we've seen more contact with a yellow flag out than we have with racing at 240 miles an hour.
Indeed. So coming down to the green, Napa Boy will be our leader here to the green flag. We will see how this plays out. Behind him, top 3 is Napa Boy, Kimmy, and Ford.
As Dim is fanning out of the back, we expect to see green flag here soon. On board with Napa looking back. It's a decent start for him. A good start for Ford. He's going to the outside of Kimmy. But that actually leaves the inside open for Corey Wilson. So very packed up here at the start. Napa's going to be snaking, trying to break the toe. Here comes Kimmy with a run. Ford with a bigger run. Oh, everyone has a run on Napa. Can he keep the lead into turn 1? I think he will. They're 3 wide behind.
Oh, 3 wide there in the back. Oh, contact there between Zed and Carter. Diving down into turn 2 towards the back straight. Napa Boy is our leader.
Corey Wilson
Ford.
spins.
Oh,
he gets hit. Anthony's involved.
So is Anthony.
That's going to be a reset for Corey Wilson. I think Anthony is okay.
That is not at all what Anthony wants to see. That puts kind of a hole in his strategy for this race. So this is going to be Corey Wilson's last car, as he will have to reset, but definitely a tough break for him and Anthony. I don't think Anthony had much damage, though, in that crash. Just a little bit of a fright. Lap 21 of 200 here at the 95th running of the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. So we have been joined in the commentary booth by Marcus. He has just joined just a couple minutes ago, so we're going to turn it over to him. Marcus, what are your thoughts on this race so far? What do you think about the action? And most importantly, what are your views with this new car?
So, thank you, Lord. But so the race has been honestly exciting. We've seen multiple passes, a few crashes too, unfortunately. But it's going great so far, I think. Or it's going good. But I think this new car it's a little difficult for these drivers from what it's looking like. But I think once just a few more laps, maybe a couple more, they can try to settle things out and they can learn how to do it a lot more better. But yeah, I think it's going pretty decent.
See, Kimmy will lead them off pit road. Thank you very much, Marcus. Now the field is catching back up. Top 3 will be Napa Boy, Zed, and Kimmy. And Ford is into the wall there in the back.
So we saw a little bit of drama there on pit road. Ford missed his pit stall, had to back up. He was taking the first stall. He had to back up and lost spots on pit road. So Ford came out of the pits in 4th. That's going to put him in 6th, I believe. Yeah, 6th on track. And Napa and Zed are the only cars that have not pit under every single caution so far. So a very interesting strategy for the rest of the field there, as they have pit under every caution.
Well, I think Zed pit a few times, but I think Napa pit, I think, the first time, and then has not pit ever since. But Zed did pit a couple times, but majority of the time he's been staying out.
Here we go, getting ready to come to the restart. Our top 3 is Napa, Zed, and Kimmy. So it's going to be Andretti Autosport, Penske, and KV as the teams that round out our top 3. Waiting for the call. everyone's kind of gotten out of line already. And green flag is out here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
A good start for Napa up front. And here comes Zed. He's got a good run off of turn 4. As Kimi opens up the wheel, he's going to get a good launch off the corner. Napa and Zed are snaking. Kimi's holding it straight and discharged behind with a big run. And so is Ford. So they're going to go 3 wide into turn 1. Ford up the inside. He's looking at the inside of Kimi as well as Napa goes wide. Napa's gone wide and Zed has taken the lead. And on the inside of Napa is Ford. So immediately Ford recovers off of a terrible pit stop and is up to second with a run coming for first.
I am wanting to know right now if this is part of some sort of strategy by Napa. I believe he is dropping back to fuel save. Ooh, it's going to get close right there with Dim. Dim backs out. So, Marcus, what are your thoughts right now on this but this restart?
Well, the restart, I think, luckily it went okay. We had Anthony kind of some contact with Napa, but everyone's starting to single file out, which is for the best. But we got Zed in the lead and Ford it's in second, and we got Kimi starting to make a move on Carter. But ultimately, we'll stay behind.
I think Kimi, as Napa hits the wall off of turn 2, he goes down the track. He's going to lose all his momentum, but he's able to keep the car straight. Crucially, we will stay green. And I think, back to Kimi, I think Kimi's saving some fuel here. He was really slow into turn 1, and Carter was able to drive right around him. But now Kimi's coming back at Carter. This is the fight for P3. Ford and Zed have a little bit of a gap out front.
Very, very impressive driving here from Zed. You'd think he would be trying to save fuel a bit more, but does not look like it from what we're seeing. As Ford dives down and looks to make a pass on his Penske teammate. I believe these two, like I said, should be working together, but right now it does not look like it. Remember, Roger Penske generally has order. He tries to get his drivers to work together for majority of the race. Zed is slowing.
And he's left. He's out of the car.
Well, that was unexpected. Some sort of mechanical issue, I guess. And he has to quit, so I don't really know what to say about that. Meanwhile, up front, Ford, I guess, is your leader. But as I was saying, Penske generally has some order for his cars. He has stated before he wants to get his drivers to work together for majority of the race, but coming to 20 laps to go, he generally throws the rulebook out the window and you go racing. As Carter looks to make a move right now on Ford.
Right, the fighting between Ford and Zed the previous lap had allowed Carter and Kimi to catch back up. And now Carter is right on the back of Ford. That's going to be the battle for the lead. Carter with a big run coming down into turn 3. Carter is going to the inside and Ford gives it to him. And Carter will be clear into the lead in turn 3.
Look at that. Now Carter is leading for the first time all day. So I am definitely impressed to see what Carter will do here today. He has just began racing for Rahal Letterman Racing. Ford looks to try to pass him as they snake down the front straightaway. Kimi is right behind Ford. I'm having a little bit of some internet issues, so pardon me. Kimi looks down to the inside. They're going to be side-by-side heading into 2. I think he's going to do it. And, yep, Kimi has overtaken Ford for second place.
But, Ford's not going to go out without a fight. As you see him going to the inside of Kimi, and they're catching ahead of Carter. Ford's going to stay low, and he's going to make the pass for first. Like I said, Ford does not quit, and he will not go out without a fight.
Big move into turn 3, 2 for 1 for Ford. He was on the inside of Kimi, got that position, and was able to blow by Carter. I think Carter might be saving a little bit here. We're going to pull up his telemetry. He gets out of line. He's lifting right on the start-finish line and then throttles back up to have the momentum as he actually goes around Ford. So I think there's a lot of fuel saving happening up here in the pack. Even in the short shoot, Carter was lifting in between 1 and 2. That is a rare sight to see. So lots of strategy at play. Carter is saving fuel, and I think the entire pack is following suit.
I would argue that Carter is probably wanting to win this race the most, as we see Kimi take the lead away from him. Wow, Kimi is now our new leader for KV Racing. Remember, he was the fastest we saw last Friday in Coors Light Carb Day. So Kimi definitely making his team owner proud here after his switch to KV Racing. So much for fuel saving.
Yep, Kimi flat out into turn 1, just grazing 230 miles an hour out in clean air. That is a pretty trimmed out car to be hitting 230. So I imagine Kimi is on a pretty low wing level right now. As he
we just had a
through
3-wide moment in the back. I don't know if you guys saw that. 24K made a 3-wide move out of turn 1 in the short chute to pass Napa and Gam.
So a big move there from Corey Wilson. He's now moved up into 5th place behind Ford, and the driver who's moved up into 3rd is Dim. He was the driver I mentioned earlier in the race who was able to overcome the dirty air and catch back up. Now he's into 3rd, so he'll be feeling cleaner air. Still not exactly clean air like Kimi has out in front, but it'll be a little bit easier for him to manage in the corners, and just 9/10 behind the lead now and gaining.
Dimitrios has made his way back up from that penalty and is now running 3rd. I believe he is looking to make a move on Carter. Dimitrios has not had the best week at all with both the Road America race and this weekend here at Indianapolis. He has not had the best week at all. Obviously, yesterday he was the site of many controversies as he looks to make a move on Carter heading down into turn 3. Side by side now, out of 4, on the front straight. He backs out and Carter slams the door on him.
And he's coming back again here, coming into the inside. Will he have enough momentum to make the pass on turn 1? He will. Dim up to 2nd.
A good move there from Dim. As Carter does graze the wall, Ford will get through on the inside because of that mistake. This is the kind of racing that Dim is very good at. He's a contender here in the Bubbles 325. He was a contender late on strategy at Texas, and he's always up front when it comes to these big oval races. And Dim is looking very strong early in this one, as he is in P2 and trying to chase down Kimi out in the lead, who has led quite a few laps now.
Dimitrios looks like he's getting ready to chase down Kimi. Look at that run. He's getting closer and closer. Kimi kind of weaving and trying to break that draft. But I think it looks right here. He looks to make a move. Has to back out. He is going to try again, though. Coming, I would assume, down the back straightaway. We could potentially see Dimitrios take the lead for the first time this race.
He's going to have a run. Off of turn 2, he opens up the steering wheel very nicely. Can he build the run going into turn 3? I think he might be too far back, but he's gaining quickly. He's looking to the inside. It's a late one, as Kimi gives it up way too early to be fighting that one. I think if it's about 3 or 4 to go, Kimi might try to hold it there, but Dim had a big run, made a late move, and Kimi gave way. So Dim will lead off of turn 4, and will be looking to lead this lap.
We got Ford coming up here now, maybe going to get in the mix. Dim trying to break the draft off Kimi, and Kimi looks like going to start slowing down, and he's going to let Ford pass. I'd probably just another battle thing, but here's Ford on the inside. Ford, can he make the pass, complete it? He will, but Dim onto the inside for the crossover.
Big moves here from both drivers. They're wheel to wheel down the back straightaway. We're going to see what Dimitrios plans to do. I believe he is going to hug that inside line, and he's going to make the pass. Ooh, nah, he has to back out. But this battle is far from over. Coming down through the short chute and into turn 4, Dimitrios could potentially charge here on the back straight, as these two side by side, and the field's weaving down the front.
And that's going to give a big run to Kimi behind. He's the 3rd car. Will he go 3 wide? Carter has a run too. No, Kimi lifts, and the entire field is lifting and still saving behind. But up front, it's still side by side. Man, this is crazy right now from Ford, who's kept it side by side for multiple laps in a row. As Dim does get a better run through turn 2. As caution is out.
Caution is
Caution is
out.
out. In the back, it's Gam Winner.
Upside down.
Oh,
Is he out of the race? I believe he was involved in an incident earlier, so I think he might be out of the race.
Looks like there's another reset. Yes, he's not out yet. He still has hopes, or he still has his hopes. Unfortunate for him, though.
It's not what that National Guard crew does want to see. But he is stating he did not lose any tires, so I guess he is not going to DNF.
we will see. It might be a misinterpretation of the rules because for this season and these cars, it is not a tire loss, but any damage. If you lose a front wing, that is also counted as a reset. So we'll have to get word from race control and see what they say about it. We might be able to see what Discharge thinks about it here. He says didn't respawn. He might be referencing an earlier crash. So Discharge kind of having a one-way conversation with race control here, making his case that he should still be in the race.
Meanwhile, up front, you see everyone is sort of out of line a bit. We are on lap 35, 200. Our top three is Dimitros, Ford, and Kimi, and followed by Carter in P4 and 24K, or Corey Wilson in P5.
Talking about the resets and the respawns, I'm just gonna give a little recap of who is on their final cars. And first, Dim, he is on his final car after an early wreck, I believe, and Corey also on his last car, with Gam Winner on his last car now, and Ford from the start of the race.
So that's 4 cars there, I believe, which are under a lot of pressure to not be involved in another wreck, or else they will be out of the race. So if we get word from race control, pits will be open this time. And we saw a Discharge pull off there. I'm not sure what's happening to the number 4 car, but he is stopped on the inside apron of the short chute between turns 1 and 2. I believe this is where turn 12 is on the road course.
He is out of the car. I am not entirely sure what is... No, he is not out of the car. Excuse me. I did not see his name on the spectate. But he is just stopped. I am not sure what is happening, or whether that's a mechanical issue or something else is going on.
He's started moving.
He started moving now. I'm experiencing a little bit of lag, so you will have to excuse me. But now he tries to make his attempt to catch up to the rest of the field. But this has been kind of a disastrous day for Panther Racing. Their future has already been called into question here at IMS, as they have talked with merging to form Sarah. Excuse me, guys. I am just not having. It's just not my day. But they are talking to merge with Sarah Fisher to form Ed Carpenter Racing.
So we're getting ready for some pit stops here. This would fall right on the time to make it on 4 more pit stops, I believe. So Dim will lead the field in. I expect everyone to pit, and we do. So a full pit lane once again, as the earliest people to stop will be Corey Wilson and Discharge in the back. Then it's Carter and Napa. A bit of a longer stop this time after a green flag run. Corey has a bit of a rough stop. I think Carter will beat Corey Wilson out. Oh no, I think Carter had a problem in the pits. So Carter with the problem. Kimi comes out in front of Corey Wilson behind. Ford and Anthony have pit, as we are waiting to see Dim's pit stop, and he missed his stall. He stopped too early. Ford gets a good exit. Ford will win the race off pit road, and Dim falls to P3 after missing his pit stall. And Ford will lead them to the green on the restart.
I believe Ford has been leading off these race off pit roads a lot. Yeah.
See right now, Napa Boy, I think we should talk about him for a second. He was up front for a lot of the race. Now he's all the way in the back. We have not received word from Michael Andretti what their pit strategy might be, but he is dropped back to dead last. I think he is definitely a contender to win this race. I've noticed that he has been fuel saving a little bit when he was in the back, so we will keep an eye out for him. But up front, it is Ford, Kimi, and Dimitros to round out your top three.
I think we've seen, talking on Napa a little bit, I think we've seen some strategy there that last stint. He was in the front off after some pit, after staying out in the last caution. And then he was saving during that stint and pit this time. So he did have a longer pit stop for this caution. He does come out in last, but now he's on the same strategy as the rest of the field. And we will be set to take the green here in a little bit. We will ride on board with Ford as we expect the green flag to fly sometime in the short shoot between turns 3 and 4.
It is only lap 36 of this 200-lap race, so all these drivers just need to tattoo it in their brain that this is an extremely long race, and we are still in the very early stages as the green flag flies and Ford takes off as your leader. Followed by Kimi, 24K looking to make a move for that third position. He does. Ford goes off the line and looks like Kimi is going to pass him as we are now crossing the little brickyard line, and Ford dives into turn 1 with Kimi right behind him.
They're a little packed in right now with Dim going to the inside of Kimi. Gonna maybe try and pass him on the corner. No, he's gonna back out of it. And they are trying to get single file, and they will. With Ford leading, Kimi second, and Dim in third. Nothing changed from the restart, but here's Kimi gonna have a run, but here's Dim getting a run
contact.
too. Dim gonna go
Ooh.
contact.
He's sliding
And
up
he
the track. He's
slides
in the
around.
wall. He's gonna be out of the race, and he
wrecks it.
flips.
There it is.
Up
That
and
is
into
a DNF for him.
very disappointing way to end his day. He will be out of the Indianapolis 500.
He tried to make a run off Kimi, but then just tapped him, and then it spun him into the grass. Just unfortunate. I don't think that's on a really bad day for Dim in the number. What car?
22.
Yeah.
22.
The 22 Dale Coyne Racing machine.
Apologies. Yes, the 22 car. But Agent, what is your opinion on Dim right now? What's your thoughts?
Well, in terms of the incident, I'm not sure if it's really anyone's fault. We saw kind of two different closing rates there into turn 3, which is not uncommon to see at Indianapolis. We Kimi in the draft of Ford, and then Dim in the draft of both of those cars. Kimi was catching up to Ford, and Dim was catching even faster. Kimi made the move to the inside, and Dim tried to go 3 wide to the inside, and then I think he might have turned in a little bit too hard, realized he was too narrow to enter turn 3. He started coming back up right as Kimi was starting to move down to begin the act of turning into the corner. And after the contact, Dim was sent into the grass, and he slid up into the wall. So I don't think anyone's really to blame for that incident. I think it's just a product of the big draft package we see and the huge runs you can get into turns 1 and turns 3 here at Indy.
So we have just received word from Brian Barnhart that Dimitros will not finish the race. He is out of the car. This is definitely not what Mr. Coyne wants to see. His team is already struggling financially, and there have been talks of merging with Dreyer and Reinbold. So this is not at all what he wants to see. However, Discharge over the radio voiced a little bit of some, I guess you could say, joy with this. So definitely very drama-filled today, as we're preparing to go green.
Oh, and Kimmy does not
And-
go,
oh,
and he
Kimmy
makes
gets
contact.
turned.
Kimmy wasn't ready.
As Carter ran into Kimmy, but Carter got away without any damage. We were watching Kimmy as he did not react to the green flag, and a big crash there in turns 3 and 4.
That is not at all what Jimmy Vasser wants to see for his number 82 car. Jimmy Vasser is Kimmy's mentor and crew chief for this team, as well as the co-owner of KV Racing. So this is not at all what Mr. Vasser wants to see with his driver. This is just, I feel like all these drivers are just need to remember this is so early as there's more contact.
That's Anthony and Napa.
Crazy race today, guys.
Yeah, I think the drivers might be a little antsy. 5K Robux on the line. They need to settle in, make it to the end. We've already seen a few drivers that have dropped out. First it was Brown, who hit the attenuator, about to serve his drive-through. That was a big moment. And then Zed, very unexpectedly, from like after leading the race, turned down onto the next to the safer barrier on the inside wall off of turn 2, and then got Thanos snapped out of existence, just disappeared. And then now Dim has used all his resets, and he was out of the race. So multiple cars. We started with 10. We are now down to 7, and I still think we are on about 3 or 4 cars that have used a reset.
And one thing I think we should also bring up, Agent, is you have to consider what time this race is taking place in real life. This is taking place at currently 10:25 EST. So I feel like all these drivers are very fatigued. It has been probably a long day for a lot of these guys in real life. So we may not see everyone at their peak, I guess you could say, with how late it is and how late it's going to be by the time this race finishes.
So it took Kimmy quite a while, but he was able to get his car sorted out. He's back on the track, going down the backstretch now. He should catch up in time. Yes, he will catch up in time to open pits. So just waiting on the word from race control. And we expect to see pit stops this time by.
Ford still leads. I believe Ford might have maybe led the most laps in the race so far. It is definitely very hard to tell as pits are open, and we will see who is taking. I think Ford taking? No, he is staying out.
Well, barely.
Everyone stays out. Wow. Not a single taker.
So everyone stays out. I think we're starting to see the semblance of a normal strategy now instead of pitting every single time. Drivers are starting to value track position a little bit more after seeing, and on a long green flag run, just how hard it is to follow in dirty air. So if these drivers want to make it work on, I believe, 4 more pit stops, I would expect them to make it closer to lap 70 after they were able to pit around lap 34, I believe it was.
So, Marcus, we are going to turn this over to you. What is your thoughts so far? I know we've asked you that a couple times, but as a driver analyst, we just need to know, what are you thinking right now? Like, would you call this race chaotic, exciting, boring? What are your thoughts?
From a fan standpoint, you're gonna say this is very chaotic, and a race that I commentated a bit before, the at Toronto, that was chaotic, but that was like, there's certain types of chaoticness. There's chaotic, like chaotic, and then there's chaotic. That was chaotic. This is chaotic. You've already seen 3 DNFs, and almost half the field is on their last car. So I think if I were a driver, I would be so careful now, because at any moment anything could happen. The little signature line, anything can happen.
We're getting ready to come to the green flag. Ford will lead them, followed by Discharge in the number 4 and 24K in that 10. And the green flag is out here at Indianapolis. Ford dives down in turn 4, and it's single file as they head down onto the front straight.
Looks like game winner
for might Discharge. Make a move.
Yep, Discharge looking at the outside. He's going to drop down back in behind Ford. So Ford will lead them over the line. Discharge lost some momentum after trying to drop back, and they are single file behind.
Single file coming down through turn 2, past the sweets. Now down the back straight. Game winner might have a good enough of a run. He could potentially pass heading on the front straight, but I think right now it's too early. In fact, he is closing rapidly, so it might be earlier than we expected. Single file action here in the field. Napa Boy looking to make a move back there on to Anthony, as Anthony lets off and lets him by. So Napa Boy is now up to 4th as he attempts to close on his I would say, biggest competition, 24K.
Now up front, we saw a bit of a close battle there between Discharge and Ford. As through turns 2, Discharge is following a little bit too close, in my opinion. You see him have to lift off and loses his momentum off of turn 2. He's gotta lay back a little bit, get some cleaner air. When you're right behind another car, you lose a lot of the downforce off the front wing, and you are unable to carry as much speed through the corner. And you see it there again in turns 3. Discharge needs to back off and build up a run on the straightaway, because following this close in the corners is making his car very tight, and he will be unable to pass Ford for another lap.
Looks like right here he might have enough of a run that he will try to make a pass here in the short chute. He is closing rapidly. You guys just have to consider how strong the draft here is at Indianapolis. This is a very, very unique track, and it has just draft speeds like no other. So snaking down the back straight, Ford is still the leader. That might have been Discharge's chance to make a pass, but it is not over as he looks. Oh, smacks the wall. That is going to cost him big.
And as a driver, that wall smack tells me that Discharge is trying to save fuel. Sometimes when you lift off the throttle and you try to turn back to the right to set up your racing line, the car just snaps on you. And I think that's what happened to Discharge. So I think he's using Ford, drafting up on Ford on the straightaways and then lifting off in order to save fuel. So he will be looking to take a shorter pit stop in the next cycle to be able to leapfrog ahead of Ford if we see pit stops.
If I were in a car right now, I would definitely not want to be up front, because this is just obviously, we are on lap 44 and we have already had several cautions. So I just think we're going to be in for a very long race. As look right here, Discharge looking to make a move. Has to back out a little bit, but I think he'll have enough of a run here on the front straight.
And yeah, look at the gap growing. I think Discharge is saving a lot of fuel here. I think he could have made the move there into turn 1, but he's sitting back, thinking about the fuel strategy. He's trying to save. He wants to take a shorter pit stop. And I think the rest of the pack is doing something similar, because there's a big gap behind Ford until you get back to Corey Wilson. And then I think they might have been side-by-side back behind. That would have been Napa and Anthony. Anthony close behind Napa as we ride on board. And wow, you can hear how much they're having to lift when they are further back in the pack. The dirty air is tremendous.
So I think we would be remiss if we did not talk about these cars and just the beauty of them. So, Agent, what is your impression of these? This is the first race Bubble has ever held with these Aero 5 Delaras. So, what do you think so far?
I'm honestly really like them. I think the racing product is better. I'm really excited to see us go to these cars in the next season for IndyCar. So, I hope to fight for a championship again. But obviously, right now the focus is going to be closing out the 2015 IndyCar season. But there's lots to look forward to with this new car for next season.
I think we've mentioned it before. Agent is one of 3 drivers fighting for the championship in the 2015 IndyCar season, along with Fearless and Kimi. But he is not on track. Obviously, he joins us here in the commentary booth, but he has been a big fan of these cars. I am a very big fan of these cars. They just sound beautiful. That roar as they go down the front straight. But Ford is starting to have a sizable lead over Discharge, so I think Discharge might have missed his opportunity if he was going to pass several laps ago, but then again, this is very likely part of a fuel saving strategy we are seeing from Panther Racing.
I definitely agree with you on that note, and I think Corey Wilson, he's caught up a little bit, but he's still keeping a decent gap behind too. As Carter hits the wall for turn 4, we saw there for just a moment. He's going to lose some momentum, but with all the cars saving, we're really seeing it strung out here. It really does remind you of these old Indy 500 races. Very strung out. Lots of fuel strategy, lots of saving. We expect the cars to be coming in probably in about another 20 to 25 laps. So we're going to see how much Discharge can stretch the fuel run if he decides to stay out longer and run hard those last few laps, or come in at the same time as Ford and try to get a shorter pit stop to leapfrog and take the lead.
You see the front 2 are kind of starting to split off from the rest of the field. 24K is still in fuel saving mode. Remember, I believe this is his final car. He was involved in an early race incident, so he needs to be, extra careful with this, but he is starting to close onto Discharge and Ford.
I would like to note that almost every single driver, if not all of them, are in complete save mode right now. And Kimi has it really bad in the back with the dirty air, because I got word he's on wing level 2, which is really, really low, and he's in all this dirty air.
That's right. All that dirty air produced by the 6 other cars in front of him. It's gonna be a struggle for Kimi to keep up with the pack and still save fuel the way he wants to, because as you can see on the timing board, he is 6 seconds behind the leader Ford.
So right now Kimi is getting further and further away from Anthony, but Anthony I am surprised he is not in dead last right now. Anthony, like I have said before, is historically one of the best fuel savers in the series. So there is very, very likely fuel saving mode going through his head right now. I do not know when he plans on the pit, but he is definitely not one to count out if we could see a fuel strategy win. Meanwhile, up front, Ford still leading as Discharge is getting closer and closer, and then eventually just letting off.
The middle of the pack here is getting a little bit closer, as we see 24K getting closer with Carter and Napa. Kimi's still behind. He has caught up about a second in the last couple of laps, though, so I wonder if he's pushing a little bit more, figuring out exactly how to run it with the dirty air.
I would like to say, though, Kimi, off of this strategy, is definitely going to have the best on fuel, because while most of these guys are braking and then getting back on the throttle to fight the dirty air, Kimi is mostly lifting, so he's actually saving more fuel on his corner entries in middle of the corners than a lot of these guys are on the straightaways.
That is a very good point, Bubble. He has a very, very sizable margin of, I guess you could say, just gap. So right now, Anthony is in front of him. Kimi is in dead last as Anthony looks to make a move here on Carter. Here, Carter does not let it happen, closes the door right on Anthony. But Anthony, like I said, is in fuel-saving mode. I have been watching him for quite a bit. Every time he looks like he's going to make a pass, he backs off. So we're seeing some really good strategy calls from Anthony.
Further up front, I think it's closing up a little bit. Discharge is still very close to Ford. We're gonna ride on board with Discharge. Watch his telemetry, see if he's lifting. He's got a pretty good run coming down into turn 1, and yep, there it is, a big lift right after the start-finish line. He gets back in the throttle. He's following really closely behind. Actually, Ford gets pretty tight, but Discharge loses momentum. He's following very close in turn 1, and he had to get out of the throttle or else he was gonna smack the wall.
That is correct. We see that he is starting to close more and more, but every time he looks like he's going to make the pass, he backs off. So I wonder if that is what... This is obviously part of some sort of strategy from him. He does not want to overtake Ford just yet. He is a sitting duck, but the time will come soon, as I believe in, I would say maybe 10, 20, maybe 30 laps, sometime in between this period, we're going to start seeing more green flag pit stops as Discharge looks to get closer but backs off.
Napa and Corey have actually caught up a lot. The gap used to be, I think, about 1.5 seconds, and they've caught up. They were, at some point, probably a couple car lengths behind Gam, but they've backed off. Napa actually made that move and passed Corey.
A good move from Napa there, as further behind, Carter does finally make that pass on Anthony. So up front, Napa has gotten past Corey Wilson. Now he's pretty close to Discharge in P3. We've been watching the telemetry on Ford for a whole lap now, and he has not lifted off the throttle once. So I really wonder how Ford is going to do when it comes pit stop time, because I think he is burning way more fuel than the drivers behind.
It's a very good point you have made, Agent. Now it looks like Napa is going to close on Discharge. We might potentially see a pass for second here as Napa goes to the inside and Discharge slides up just a little bit. They roared down the back straight. Napa is closing and takes the inside line and looks like he is...
Ooh,
does not happen.
Very tight.
Has to let off.
In turn 3, they stay side by side. Normally you see one driver give it up when they get to the corner entry. Discharge fighting on the outside. He has to lift. After all this green flag running, it's going to be hard to keep it on the outside. And so Napa has taken P2 away from Discharge, and now will have his sights set on Ford, as Ford actually throws an elbow out there going into turn 1. Very early to see a defensive move like that on lap 56, as that might make Napa want to make a move here, because Ford making defensive moves very early in this race.
Looks like Napa is going to try to close right here. Ford gets out of the way. Or no, this is a defensive line we're seeing from him. So very, very good move from Ford right there. He took a defensive line and protected his position from Napa. As Discharge looks like he could be closing here on Napa Boy. Gets a little close, has to back out. And here comes 24K with a slingshot run. Gets around game winner for third place.
A good move there from the number 10 car. That's Chip Ganassi. As Napa's high off the line, he loses his momentum. Corey Wilson with a big move in the short chute. Discharge tries to follow him, but he's tight. He has to lift for the dirty air. So is Corey Wilson. It's very tight off the corner. But I think Corey Wilson will have the advantage down and back straightaway. Napa gets the draft from Ford up ahead. That's going to give him that position back into turn 3.
I would like to mention, I just got word, all the drivers are basically in the 30s of the percentage of fuel, but Kimi has managed to get himself planted in the low 40s, so I mean he's close to their fuel number, but he's saved just a little bit more.
Very, very interesting strategy coming from the KV Racing number 82. Meanwhile, up front, Napa Boy is in second place now, but 24K is looking to close. Our top three, Ford, Napa, and 24K. Discharge has dropped way back into fourth place, and
Napa's
there's
going
a
for the lead
very
here.
big gap.
So the first time in quite a few laps, we see a change for the lead into turn 3. Napa made the move. Ford did not fight at that time. I think Napa had too big of a run. And I also wonder if Ford's going to start trying to fuel save here. We're gonna actually go on board with Ford off of turn 4 and see his telemetry snaking down the front straightaway. Will Ford lift going into turn 1 to save any fuel? And it looks like the answer to that is no. He's full throttle, 235 miles an hour. He's closing right up to the back of Napa. There's a lot of dirty air there. As he struggles to make the next corner, he's following very closely behind. It's gonna be a big battle here going into turn 3. So Ford not saving fuel. He's gonna go to the inside and try to retake the lead into turn 3. He has the position and he gets the move done.
You saw Napa really kind of tried to put up a fight, but not too much. But this battle is far from over. Napa is still attempting to close on Ford. It is still we're just coming to lap 60, so if racing is this intense on just lap 60, I think you can imagine how it's going to be on lap 199.
Another defensive move from Ford. Here comes Napa around the outside. That's very tight in turn 2. They're bang wheels. Contact in turn 1 as Napa's still holding the outside on Ford.
But you saw that they only lightly let off the throttle. These are not stuck cars. They do not do well when they touch wheels like that. But they kept it going. No huge overreactions. So I really got to hand it off to them. Heading down into turn 3, Napa gets right back into line. And Ford takes the lead, again, with no issues.
Since I went in their channel and I asked them their fuel, I wonder if now that they know they're all so close, they've thrown the saving out of the window and they're just going to go for it and race until the pit stops.
I think that's what you're seeing from the top 4 here is Napa again to the outside of turn 1, holding it on the outside. It's very tight. He has to lift off. He's going to lose some momentum as Discharge is closed up to the top 2. And man, they're following so close through turn 2. Here comes Discharge with a run. Can he keep the momentum off the corner? It's very tight between the top 3. I expect to see a battle. Yep, Ford is going to take the defensive line. Napa going to the outside again.
Side by side now into 3. Ooh, there's a little bit of contact right there.
Oh, and Ford slides.
Oh, they hit tires. Ford's might slide.
Oh, they just barely stay off of each other again. A good run for Napa off the corner. Can he take the lead here? Not quite. I think Ford is on more trimmed out wings. He's able to pull on the straightaways even though they're side by side.
Ford slides right back up in the first position. He's not going to give up an inch. Like Bubble said, these two are just wanting to go racing until they make their green flag pit stops. So we are already kind of on the edge of our seat. Getting close to that time. It's nail-biting time.
Corey Wilson is also caught up to the back of this pack, and the backpack has split up, but they're still very close. So Carter and Kimmy have been trading, slingshotting, and saving. I think it's part of a strategy. They might all try and pit together.
Put this right here. Side-by-side action. Game winner slightly edges out. Napa actually gets right back in the line as Napa looks to close right here on Ford. Does not get it. Ford takes that defensive line. I have noticed that quite a lot from him throughout this race. So, very superb driving abilities from Ford.
Oh, Napa gets there, though, off of turn 2. He gets to the inside. Ford will not be able to defend the inside this time, but he has the superior straight line speed and retakes the lead. I think Napa's on a pretty high downforce setup as he gets to the inside, takes the lead this time. But, oh, and there's contact, and Ford's in the wall. Ford crashes. Caution is out. We were just about to approach pit stops, and the leaders collide, and Ford...
He's out of the race. Ford's DNF.
He is out. Oh my.
His Indy 500 hopes are over.
He is not happy.
Napa will lead. It was... You kind of saw it coming. They hit tires once, and then as they were slicing back down, there was just not enough room for both cars. And lap 63, fighting like that, coming close to the pit stops. They wanted to get position as we were approaching the green flag pit stops. I think now we're going to see everyone come down under yellow, but with one less driver now, that leaves just 6 drivers in the race.
That is just, I'm still shocked about this. Everyone is just kind of dropping like flies, so I would assume this is not going to be the last DNF we are going to see, but very, very tough break here for Ford. This is not going to look good on his resume with Roger Penske, so we just got to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, it was I think the pit lap number normally would be around lap 67. So this is definitely a little bit early. Now, we've seen from that previous green flag run, especially from the likes of Kimi, Carter, and Anthony, you can save quite a lot of fuel. Speaking of Carter and Anthony, they have contact under yellow here. But they can save quite a lot of fuel, so I expect to see all the drivers pit this time and maybe some more fuel saving once again, because they will want to pit here and make it on just 3 more stops.
I will say, though, even though we've had these DNFs, it's actually upping the stakes for the participation reward for the people that do finish the race. So if they can somehow stay on this, they'll get a share of these earnings.
That is very, very interesting there. I'm sure now everyone who is left is just trying their hardest, fighting fatigue in this race. It's really right now just anyone has a chance of winning. It was at the beginning, I believe only a select few did, but now I think all of that is changing. Everything in this race changes up as we are getting ready to go into our pit stops here. Napa Boy is your leader, followed by 24K and Discharge.
So after these pit stops, I think a lot of the drivers will hope to make it to lap 100. That'll be a bit of a stretch on the fuel, almost about 35 laps, or 36 laps once we see the green flag, as Anthony might be staying out here. No, he decides to bring it in. I think that was a wise decision. So we will see everyone pit here. Corey Wilson will be the first to hit the box, then Discharge. Kimi will follow them. And it's quite a long pit stop after a long green flag run. It takes a while to refuel these Indy cars. Corey Wilson is out ahead of Discharge, and Kimi is out behind both of them. He had to get around Anthony, I believe. We're going to see where Carter comes out relative to Anthony and Kimi. And he comes out ahead of Anthony. Up front, Napa is the last car to come out of his box. Can he retain the lead? No, he comes out behind Corey Wilson. So Corey Wilson, with a good pit stop, and I believe he saved some more fuel there, he will take the lead after yellow flag pit stops.
That is indeed a very good move there by Corey. So our top 3 is Corey Wilson, Napa Boy, and Discharge. I'm very impressed with Discharge right now. He did not have the best day over at Road America yesterday, so this is definitely a big turnaround for him. I would say he is one of the top contenders, but who is your pick right now, Agent?
Right, it's tough, but right now, honestly, I think I'm gonna say probably Carter. I think Carter has saved the fuel smartly though so far. But when he wants to make a move, he's been able to make it. He's worked with Kimi previously in the race, and I think Carter will be in the right place at the right time. to be able to win. Now, we're not even halfway at this point, so everything could change. But so far, from what I've seen, I think Carter is my favorite to win.
I did just interview Corey, and he said on the start of this restart, he wants to go full conserve, full save mode. So we might see him fan out all the way to the outside and basically just let everyone by on the restart.
I would say that's a very, very smart strategy call from him in that Chip Ganassi team.
We'll have to see. We're going to ride on board with Corey Wilson, see if he lifts on the start. And yeah, the target lap for all these cars will be lap 100. As green flag is flying, Corey Wilson with a good restart as discharge is going to go to the inside of Napa. So side by side for second, as here they come down to cross the yard of bricks. As discharge lifts off, follows back in behind Napa. So single file as we enter into turn 1. Corey Wilson does not lift immediately off the start. He will lead them on this first lap, although Napa with a good run. He will follow closely through turns 1 and 2.
Corey Wilson has not yet dropped back, but I think we could see this very soon. As you see, Napa Boy and Discharge are gaining on him. Actually, yes, I think it is now. He is beginning to drop back a little bit. Napa Boy takes that lead right from him into turn 3. Napa Boy and the 28 Andretti green car is now your leader, followed by 24K in second place and Discharge in third. I've noticed Carter has also made his way up to fourth.
That's right, and yep, Corey Wilson saving fuel. Discharge is going to go by him here, and Carter with a big run. I think Carter's going to stay behind, though. It reminds you a bit of practice. Oh, contact up front. Napa's in the wall.
That is a bump and run. Race control is not going to like that.
I'd expect to see the contact between Napa and Discharge under investigation, because contact in the middle of the corner usually does not end as nicely as it did there. That could have very easily seen one of those cars with damage. And there we go. Race control has already decided drive-through penalty for Discharge for avoidable contact. He will have to serve it pretty soon. He might already be coming down. Yes, he will. So Discharge brings him
Speeds
into the
down
pits.
pit lane.
I think he was good there. He did, yeah, he did not speed. He's good to serve this drive-through.
Definitely not what Panther Racing wants to see here. Meanwhile, we have a new leader, and it is Carter here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway, and that 38 Third Central machine will lead them heading down into 3. But Napa Boy is close behind him. He is going to be closing soon, as 24K looks like he has a small run on Napa Boy. As they're side by side in the 4. 24K, I think, might edge him out here. No, he does not. Napa Boy has the run, and 24K is just going to have to get right back in the line.
So single file now. Up front, we have quite a few cars, and the car in fourth, actually, that is Kimmy. He's now kind of up here in this pack, following closely behind Corey Wilson. We know Corey Wilson is going full conserve. We're going to pull up Kimmy's telemetry here, see if he's doing the same. Going down into turn 3, do we see a lift? No, we see 241 miles an hour before he lifts into the corner. He has to slow all the way down to about 190, 185 miles an hour. I think he got out of line there, and he had to lift more than he normally would in order to survive the dirty air produced by the 4 cars in front of him.
I'm about to quote something we don't want to talk about. actually, I heard you. I almost did it earlier, and then I heard you do it by like the 6 cars in front of him.
Well, anyways, right now we have noticed Anthony has dropped all the way in the back. Obviously, the dirty air from these 6 cars is going to make this more difficult. But right now, the position he's in, he actually has a little bit of a small advantage because everyone else is open.
Bro, there's no way
All right.
you just did that.
And there you go. It's Kimmy. Napa actually falls back. Kimmy is falling back a little bit from all that dirty air created by the 3 cars in front of him.
You all will have to excuse us. We are all extremely tired. We apologize to everyone at home watching. We're all just extremely fatigued. Back to actual racing. Carter still holds on to that lead as Corey Wilson is in second place and Napa Boy is in third. So I'm excited to see what Carter can do here as they head down the back straight.
Right. Legitimately, though, the talk of the weekend has been dirty air and what wing levels to be on. So I wonder if these drivers have kind of figured out a certain wing level being better for saving fuel.
I think it's gonna be a lower one. I mean, Kimmy didn't change his wing level. He's still on 2.
Yeah, so I'm not super surprised on that. We saw Kimmy lifting a ton in the dirty air, so I think he's saving in the corners, but the trimmed out wing with a less drag allows him to get to a higher speed on the straightaways faster, and then he can lift earlier and keep higher speed into the corner. So Kimmy pairing his wing selection with his race strategy for saving fuel, as we have completed 71 laps here at Indianapolis. Napa and Kimmy both hit the wall.
Yeah, they both hit the wall.
Anthony's going to have a run on Kimmy here. He's looking to the inside. This is for 4th
24K
place.
is going for the lead, I think. Oh, he backs out.
Both cars ended up backing out, so it is as you were for the top 5 positions.
I think right now we should talk about the position Kimmy is in. His mentor right here with KV Racing is the very legendary Jimmy Vasser. Both KV Racing and Andretti Autosport want a piece of him. For Andretti wants him to drive the 26 car next season in the 2011, but we definitely could see what happens here. This race could determine if he makes the switch or not. Meanwhile, up front, still, we actually have fanned out quite a bit between Napa Boy and Kimmy. Napa Boy looks to close on 24K, but so far, nothing really out of place. Just a lot of strategy at play. Most people at home may think that this isn't interesting, but I can assure you it very much is.
I mean, this right here is the essence of racing. This lift and coast strategy, which Kimmy, I think, is masterfully paired with his wing selection. That could be the race-winning move right there for Kimmy. If he's able to save fuel, especially now that we're down to just 6 cars, I think the likelihood of a caution is much lower. So with Kimmy making that choice on that pit stop, he's now saving, I think, way more effectively than the cars in front. And if this goes green, I think Kimmy might be one of the ones to watch for the win.
I would like to mention though.
There though.
Him being on a lower wing is better for him, lifting, because he's not having to brake. But like a higher wing car like Napa, he hasn't been really lifting. He's been more on the throttle, braking to slow his speed back down, because how the acceleration works. Like right there, he did it right there. He brakes to do it, so he's not saving a lot of fuel.
I had the telemetry on Kimmy pulled up into turn 1. He had to lift a lot more, and he's very wide here in turn 2. Oh, he might hit the wall. He slows way down to stay out of it. But into turn 1, I saw 246.
I think that's the top speed. That's got to be the fastest you've ever seen in this car, in an Indy car in our league. I've never seen faster than 243.
That is definitely the fastest we have ever seen in the IRO 5. Remember, these cars were built to provide a safer alternative to the Reynard cars, as 24K looks to make a move on Carter for the lead. Corey Wilson is now your leader, as I believe Carter might be dropping back.
Oh, side by side, they're coming together. Oh, Napa just slided in behind him. It's so often you see that inside car get the dirty air and when trying to follow someone through, and Carter holding the outside. I thought we were going to see Napa come up and make contact with Carter's rear wheel, but they keep it clean. We stay green. That was we just completed lap 75 out of 200. So Corey Wilson, the new leader. Carter holds on to second. And further behind, Anthony is ahead of Kimmy now. So
Yeah, Kimmy's going really slow. He's actually downshifting. Usually we're at 6th gear all the way around. He's in 5th going into turn 3.
we're going to ride on board with Kimmy and take off his telemetry so we can see that gear is in. Yep, we can see 6th gear, all the full revs into turn 1.
246 that time.
We had just taken off the telemetry, and there it is. 5th gear in turn 1. He's lifting quite a lot. He's actually, I think Anthony has started to go a little bit more. He's catching up to the pack in front. So Kimmy held 6th gear through turn 2, getting a big run to launch onto the straightaways. But I believe in turns 1 and likely here in turns 3 too, we will see him downshift into 5th gear. And yep, there it is, down to 5th gear as he gets back into 6th to accelerate through turn 4 to wind up the car for a run. And here he comes. He's got a run on Anthony.
This Napa boy looking close.
Oh, the racing in front's getting a little crazy. Carter's going on the inside for the lead. He gets let by, but he slams the wall.
A big hit. That was not a light kiss, a light brush against the wall. That was a big hit on the wall. I think he'll be okay, but some fighting there up front. It's not exactly the full conserve that we heard from Corey Wilson. Now he might be because he lets Napa by. So Corey Wilson down to 3rd. Carter's back in the lead, and Napa's in 2nd.
I do wonder though, because of the drive-through penalty, I've been wondering how the strategy is going to play out for Gam in the 4 car with Panther Racing. Because, I mean, I don't remember if he stayed out or not on one of those cautions, so I'll have to check. I'll have to go check in and see what his fuel situation is like, because he's not saving. He's full throttle all the time, so he might be trying to catch up to the pack.
Maybe so, but I think he is slowly losing time. I think I checked earlier, it was about 24 seconds. The last time I saw we saw 25. But everyone came in the last time. That was around lap 64. So it's going to be tough to see if Discharge is able to make it. Well, now it's 24.3 seconds, so Discharge is kind of running the same pace as this pack when they're switching in the lead and saving fuel.
Panther Racing has finished 2nd here for the last 2 years, down the back straightaway. Panther Racing's future here in the IndyCar series has definitely been called into question, along with Vision and Newman Haas Lanigan. So right now, I think Discharge just wants to make the most of a very bad situation for this team into the final corner and onto the front straight. So we need to see some god tier strategy from this team.
Definitely, we might see some wacky fuel strategies up front. Carter and Napa, they swap again. I think Carter on the inside of Napa there. He's in the lead. Napa's still in 2nd. The 4th and 5th place cars of Kimmy and Anthony have caught up to this front 3. So we've really got a much closer pack now as we come around to complete lap 80. But yeah, as you mentioned, Panther Racing so good these last couple years here, and they would want to. They don't really want to see the drive through, but they might be able to pull off some strategy to come back later in this race.
Yeah, you never know. I mean, it could be with 2 laps left in the race. And if some car has some issue.
What
happened to Kimmy?
He stopped in the middle of turn 2.
He stopped. He's disconnected. He disconnected.
That's the 2nd car that we've seen vanish out of existence.
We are now down to 5 cars. Oh my.
So Thanos working his magic here. He's taken out 2 of the 5 retirements.
I am suffering from some technical difficulties right now, so I might be a little bit behind.
It's all
but
good.
there is.
Corey Wilson tapped the wall there in turn 2. Up front, it's still the top 3, really close. So.
I just got word. Kimmy didn't disconnect. His mom pulled the plug out of his Xbox.
Oh, so
Oh my.
Kimi is forcibly retired from this race.
I tried to warn them about not to do this race if they thought they were going to get in trouble because of bedtimes, because it is late for most, if not all people. But, I mean, he is an adult, but I wasn't expecting that.
And I have just disconnected. I am terribly sorry. I have disconnected. My internet is being very, very wonky. I will rejoin right now, but
Well,
I apologize for the
top three is still very
technical
close here.
troubles.
Napa was able to get past Carter a couple laps ago, so Napa in the lead now from Carter. Corey Wilson still in third. Now, honestly, I think Corey Wilson might be in the best spot. He's saving the most fuel. He's staying with the lead pack. Anthony's fallen back quite a bit. So,
Well, I was wondering, what about Anthony? Because he looked like he was kind of saving the same as Kimi, but now that I look at it, he's actually doing the braking thing too.
yeah, and
So
I think if he's running now that he doesn't have Kimi to work with, I think he needs to catch back up to the pack before he thinks about saving anymore. You really don't want to fall more than about 4 seconds behind here. So Anthony, I think, should start pushing to try to catch up to this pack. He's 3.7 behind now.
Now, as you see, Napa Boy up front, Carter in P2, and Corey Wilson in P3. Carter looks like he could close here on Napa on the back straight. Depends on how aggressive he is going to be. He is clocking right now at 234 miles per hour. As I was saying earlier, the Dallara Aero 5 was built to be a safer alternative to the Reynard 2K, which was used by CART in 2001, which at Fontana in the same year clocked at an average speed of around 250 miles per hour, as Carter goes in for the lead as Napa Boy drops back.
And there we go. A big move from Carter. He almost has a wall for turn 2. But he does keep it out of the wall. And yeah, so Carter in the lead there from Napa. Corey Wilson in third. Anthony has caught up a couple tenths in the last 2 laps, but I'd really like to see him up in the pack if he wants to continue saving fuel with the greatest efficiency. We expect these drivers to come into the pits in about 15 laps, and then we will be hitting the halfway mark of this race.
Napa Boy on the charge, looks to make a move, and he gets there. Very, very pleased clear from his spotter. But no, this is not over. Carter looks to be charging. But as Agent said, we are going to very, very soon see some green flag pit stops, which will change the entire course of this race.
And I'm watching Carter's telemetry now. He's not really lifting too much. He was full throttle earlier when following behind Napa and making the move. So we're not really seeing a lot of saving out of the number 38 car right now. Anthony has caught back up to this group now. So the top 4 running single file right now, but much closer than we've seen previously. The gap between the 4 of them just under a second.
Carter trying to extend that lead right now. What do you think we could see going into green flag pit stops, Agent?
I think it's going to be a little bit wild. I don't think the drivers have had a lot of practice going flat out on the access road to exit the pits. And we know how slippery the grass can be. If you dip a wheel onto the grass, that could be all over for you. So we're gonna see. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a couple drivers try to pit a little bit earlier or a little bit later, both for fuel purposes and for avoiding calamity on the pit lane.
I did just get. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
The other big aspect of the pits will be the pit entry. Do you know your braking point to get into the pits with maximum efficiency and carry the most speed and lose the least amount of time? So, but I think Bubble had a report for us there.
Yeah, I do. I have confirmed most drivers are pitting on lap 100 or right around, like a lap short or after before that. So It's, probably 12, 13 laps from now, maybe 14 if they can stretch it, but it's going to be right around 100 that we're going to see all the drivers come in for their first green flag pit stop if there's no caution.
So down the front straightaway, Carter and Corey on the high side. And here comes Anthony. Actually, no, here comes Corey with a charge into second place. We're going to see Anthony coming into play here. He was at the back nearly the entire race, but now is making his way up to fourth. So
I think it's Corey
interesting
Wilson's
to
turn
see.
to go. He's going for the lead, and so is Carter. Carter with a move on the inside of Napa, following Corey through. Can Carter get alongside? Oh, he fits in the gap just barely. As Corey runs wide through turn 3, that's going to give Carter the inside. We're seeing a bit of a battle now. I wonder if they've stopped saving, realizing they can make it more easily for the next 11 laps around to a lap 100. As Carter hits the wall off of turn 4, that's going to hurt his momentum. Will Corey Wilson come back at him? It's hard to say. I think he's saving. I think Corey Wilson is still saving a little bit. With about 11 laps to go until we see green flag pit stops.
Now 24K looking to close on to Carter. I am frozen right now, so pardon me.
He's still
but
closing.
right here,
Side by side.
He's
He's
still getting to
closing.
make a move. Oh, Carter lifted. Here comes Napa.
There come
Carter
both.
just lost 2 positions with that maneuver.
I wonder if he is fuel saving again, back into fuel saving mode.
Is that an energy drink working, man?
I'm trying, man. It's hard. It's 11:15 over here, but it's kicking in. I'm not giving up an inch. I said to myself I would not give up an inch till I see God or the checkered flag of this race.
When Plato gave out, he's dead. He done. He ain't waking up.
Plato, the official mascot here on Plato's the Apex Network. As Carter Wilson goes to the back, Carter into second. He's going to look for a move for the lead into turn 3. Carter in the number 38 machine retakes the lead. And so it's the top 3 switching positions. Anthony still running 4th and saving fuel. We expect the cars to come in about 9 laps once we complete this one and go on to lap 92.
Right here. When are we going to start to crank it up? The little question for Agent.
Oh yeah, Plato's perfect pitch.
Honestly, I think that's
Oh no!
Napa.
He just hit the curb. Dude, his life just flashed before his eyes. He almost went flying up in the air. That could have been terrible.
It could have been race over there. But yeah, I agree. I agree with my co-commentator Vort here. I think we say I think it's about time for a little bit of Plato's perfect pitch before we get ready for green flag pit stops. We're gonna go on board with Carter. Oh, and here we go. It's time for green flag pit stops a little bit earlier than we expected. Lap 94. And 2 cars have sped on pit road. It's Carter and Corey Wilson.
That is, you saw they made some contact there on pit road. That is definitely not what either of them want to see.
Anthony, they're not going to get a penalty for that.
No penalty from race control. That's interesting.
Anthony came flying in and hit both of them. Anthony hit 24K in the attenuator, and then it pushed Carter forward by hitting him in the right rear.
So,
And Gap went by, took the lead.
yes, Discharge is staying out another lap. So Discharge stretching it somehow over these other 4 cars. Wouldn't be surprised if we saw Anthony get a penalty for the contact going to the pits. We didn't see it. We were on board with Carter still. But these 4 cars have stretched out now after those pit stops. Discharge is yet to pit. We're following Discharge through turn 4 right now. And it will be this time. So Discharge going to the pits this time. And he will take the very first pit stall. He missed it a little bit, I think. He had to back up into his pit stall as the rest of the field comes off. And there it is, the drive-through penalty for Anthony for the pit entry violation. And Discharge is out of the pits, but he still has to go the entire pit lane, and he will be well behind the rest of the pack.
Very tough break for AJ Foyt Enterprises. Anthony will have to serve that penalty soon. It's just been kind of penalty city today for a lot of these guys, but like we have said before, the stakes are high, the fatigue is high, and the driver numbers are low. But right now, it is still anyone's race.
We're going to see what the gap here is to Discharge after that green flag pit stop, as Anthony actually goes to serve his drive-through now. So we might see it kind of close here between Anthony and Discharge after Anthony has to serve this penalty.
Oh, Carter and Corey almost hit each other. If Carter hit him, he would have went flying up in the air.
So right now, we are preparing to interview Dimitros, driver of that number 22 Dale Coyne machine, who was out early on in the race after a massive crash. So we're going to bring him into the booth. So Dim, what happened out there? What happened, and what are your thoughts?
Just had a big run. Didn't really want to check up. Thought I could take it. Went to the inside, and I underestimated how much, or overestimated, I guess, how much the car would turn. Turned down to the bottom, tried to come back up, so I wouldn't botch my entry. But as I was coming up, Kimmy came down, and the wreck just ensued from there. It just sucks. Shouldn't have been in that position in the first place. That should have been my first reset. But yeah, kind of upsetting. But
And what about the start? What happened at the start that caused that massive collision?
I guess just someone forgetting what to do. You got one job on the restart. Watch for it when it goes green, and then you unpace. Pretty simple. Click R, click pacing. I guess we just don't know what we're doing. Coming to the green, we're just watching TikTok or something, because we just can't unpace. Pretty simple, but too much to ask for some people.
Well, all right. Thank you very much, Dim.
No
So that was Dimitros, driver of the 22 Dale Coyne machine. He was out very early on in the race, obviously very frustrated. He had a pretty good chance at winning today. Meanwhile, up front, Carter is on the charge, heading down into turn 3, and takes that lead away.
I would like to mention Anthony Anderson, the 14 car, just got that drive-through penalty. He is in the draft of GAM and the 4 car, so they could get together and, not likely but very possibly, slingshot each other and attempt to catch up to the main pack. It would be very hard, but it is possible, especially with these guys saving up front.
Very good point there, Bubble. Right now, I am riding on board with Napa Boy at 24K attempt to close. So, Agent, I want to bring this over to you. What are your thoughts on the whole Dim situation? It sounded like he was very, very frustrated. Do you think it is justified, his anger is justified, or he is just not accepting facts?
I mean, I think his point about the start is justified. However, sometimes after like what happened on the caution, what he showed on the caution was not really good sportsmanship or good driving, and does kind of take away from the credibility of the points he's making. But of course he's upset. Chance at 5,000 Robux is gone. But the second incident I can't really put on anybody. So I think he's rightfully upset about the second incident and not being upset at anybody. I think his point about the start is has some merit, but I don't know. After what we saw during the caution, it's hard to side with him.
All right, thank you very much. As Napa Boy looks to close in for first place, he makes that pass and will dive down into turn 1. So Napa is your new leader. I think Carter might be deliberately dropping back.
And Anthony has officially caught Gam. He's basically 2 car lengths behind him. He's in his draft. I don't think they're saving. I'm looking on the onboard. There's a tiny little bit of saving from Anthony, but I mean, really, he's staying right with them, so they might be able to work something out and catch up.
We're going to keep a track of both packs here. One of them's for the lead. One of them is for 4th on track, but they've both had to serve drive-through penalties during this green flag run. This will be a key moment here. Will Anthony make the move on discharge? Yes, he will. Going into turn 3, Anthony goes to the inside and makes the move, so if they keep pushing flat out and get big runs on the straightaways and can slingshot, like Bubble said, they could make up quite a lot of time. Now, we just passed halfway to go in the race. So, now we've got 98 laps remaining in this race. And there it is, discharge. I think he's running lower wings. He blows by Anthony. And 25.6 seconds, we will be watching the gap. Can these two close to the 3-car pack that is for the lead?
And that is correct. And like Agent just said, we are at the halfway point of the race. So if something were to happen, in the very unlikely chance that there was weather, this race would be official say that they would have to cancel it. But that is extremely unlikely, and I mean extraordinary unlikely. Meanwhile, Carter is really breaking off from the rest of the field as Napa looks to make a move on Corey down on the back straight.
He's not able to make that move stick. He falls back in line. Corey Wilson, and the number 10 car still in second. The gap back to the other 2 cars is now 25.4. So it's still around 25 seconds. I expect once they get into the rhythm of slingshotting each other in a couple laps, we'll see that gap shrink quicker. We're gonna actually go on board here with Carter and see if we can hear him lift, or if he is flat out front. He was flat into turn 1. He's keeping really good minimum speed too. I think he's on a pretty trimmed wings. Good wings to be out front on.
See right now getting close to 225 miles per hour as whoa with Napa Boy. What a run there from Napa.
I just don't think the slingshot's working for them. I don't know what they're doing wrong, but they really haven't caught. They've actually stayed about the same gap. Either that, or the leaders have essentially just stopped saving and are kind of full pushing. Not taking all the runs, but basically full pushing until they hit their pit lap.
we saw out front on board with Carter that he was not saving fuel almost at all. So and then Napa was able to slingshot past him. So if these drivers up front aren't really saving, they will be slingshotting each other, and it will make it almost impossible for Discharge and Anthony to regain the time that they lost from a drive-through penalty. And yeah, it's gone up about a tenth or two over the last 2 laps.
That's correct. Now, I'm going to ride on board with Anthony. He looks to be fuel saving a bit more.
24K makes the move. He's actually going for the lead. Way down the inside. Carter backs out, lets him by.
So, also, Napa Boy has just radioed to Brian Barnhart requesting for some sort of competition caution and red flag for a break. And Barnhart has shot it down.
And
So we will continue.
You can hear Napa crying over the radio. Literally, tears falling down his face here. So upsetting for Napa here in the P3 position, as we are still approaching here now. Just 93 laps to go at the line. Corey Wilson leads. There's still 3 cars that are really in with the shout to win as it stands.
Some drivers have voiced their displeasure with the dismissal of a intermission, but that's just racing for you. This is not NASCAR. You are not going to see any stages here.
Big run by Corey. Big run by Napa, too. Corey's going to get around for the lead. Oh, he almost does the same thing that Ford does and checks up at the middle of the apex. That's what actually wrecked Ford and what he did to someone else. That's really dangerous. I actually talked to them about that earlier. The braking at the middle of the apex is getting pretty bad. I believe Ford did it to someone, took someone out, and then Napa did it to Ford. And that's what took Ford out. So they have to be careful about that, because Carter was trying to get back in line, and Corey came back down and
Corey
stopped
Wilson
it on the
is
apex.
laughing out loud in the car as he was able to make the pass there. So Corey Wilson having the time of his life here on lap 109 as he made the pass for the lead. Napa with a run behind.
Big run. Oh, Carter. Defensive
Napa
move.
going for the lead
Napa's
into
going
turn
for the
3.
lead.
Can he make it stick? He slows up on the apex. Corey Wilson back around the outside. Can he make it stick? Side by side in the short shoot through turn 4. Napa is really tight. Can Corey Wilson hold on to the lead? He has it for now, but Napa's on the inside. He's going to lift ever so slightly, and Corey Wilson holds the lead around the outside of 3 and 4. Great bit of racing between those two.
It was an amazing move from Corey. Right now, I think everyone, by this point, they should at least have gotten used to the dirty air. So we are seeing less, I feel like we are seeing less contact at the wall than we were very early on in the race.
Also, sorry to interrupt. I can't confirm. The backpack has caught up. They are starting to catch up. And the pit lap is going to be right around 125, 127.
That's a little bit short to make it on 2 more stops. I think they might go for 3 more here now. So if they would need to make it to almost lap 130, 133 if they wanted to make it on 2 more. So the early pit stop last time, I wonder if they just weren't able to save enough. And so we're going to be still looking at 3 more pit stops then before we get to the end of this race.
Approaching lap 112 of 200 here at Indianapolis.
Napa to the inside. He's looking for the lead here into turn 3. Carter with a big run, but he's going to lift off. So really 3 cars fighting here. It looks like the Piston Cup, but there's 2 other cars halfway around the track. They are gaining though.
Yeah, that lap they caught up another second.
So we might see 5 cars here by the time we get to the end of this race, because those 2, Discharge and Anthony, are working together very well. We're going to see what the gap is this time by, and then we will go on board with Discharge to see how this slingshot strategy is working for them. Out of turn 4 for the Panther Racing number 4 car of Discharge. The gap this time is 23 seconds, so they lost a couple tenths that time. We're going to go on board with Discharge as he leads Anthony through turns 1 and 2. Anthony running a little bit lower there. A little bit lower in turn 2. He's going to have a run. All right, here we are, just half a lap. As Anthony with a
like
good
he's going to close.
The draft is just crazy. It just absolutely sucked him by.
I think Anthony's on a much higher wing from what I've seen before, because watch the run that Discharge is going to get out of this corner. He's struggling here. He's very tight in the dirty air. But now that he's off the corner, Anthony does tap the wall just a little bit. Look at the run Discharge gets. It's much bigger than the run that Anthony can get. And back down to 22.8.
Yeah, 22.
When Discharge gets the slingshot, it's a much bigger gain than when Anthony does.
Well, I also think, sorry to interrupt, I also think, it hasn't been like this all race, but Anthony and Gam need to sort something out, because Anthony falls so behind when Gam slingshots that he can't catch back up for like another lap, which is ruining a lot of their strategy to use the slingshots to their advantage.
Well, I can tell you why that is, and that's all because of wing levels. That is because Anthony is on a bigger downforce setting than Discharge. So he's able to follow really close in the corners, but when they get onto the straights, it's really tough for Anthony to be able to catch up to Discharge and make a move into either turn 1 or turn 3. So it is becoming very difficult for them to work together to catch up because of the different wing levels they're running.
I saw Carter way back out front.
Yeah, there were some couple lead changes when we were watching that backpack. They went back and forth. Carter was side by side with Corey for a little bit, and then Carter was able to get by Napa for the lead. He's starting to save a little bit now. He actually Carter backed up
all the way to the lead. So lifting up front, and Corey Wilson takes the lead, but he's wide, and Carter will do the switchback into turn 1, into turn 2. Carter on the bottom, side by side. I think Carter will get the spot here on the exit, and he will.
Here comes a very bold move from 24K looking to close. And Napa, I think Carter might be dropping back. It's going to be really tight right there. And they make it through. So Carter back in the line, trying to get back at 24K. But 24K is just hugging the defensive line. Carter has to lift off a bit. As here comes Napa Boy, trying to take that second place position away from him.
We're going to see a good run from Carter here again. Going to the inside. He knows Corey Wilson is going to lift and save. Side by side. Not giving that one up easily. Corey Wilson staying on his outside. Napa's still close behind. So these three cars really tight right now. As Carter is able to take the lead on the inside, and Napa will follow him through, getting the draft. So Corey Wilson is demoted down to P3, as Napa is actually going to make a big run on the outside to pass for the lead. Corey Wilson with a momentum on the top, but the dirty air is a lot following Napa, so Carter keeps P2. And Napa gets a pretty good gap after being able to turn down into turn 3. Give dirty air to Carter, who hits the wall off of turn 4.
By the way, would like to mention, Gam got split up from Anthony. They both hit the wall one of those laps. Now they've split up, so Gam's got to somehow gather it all back up and catch back up to Anthony.
Well, I think on those lighter wings, or on the more trimmed out wings, it'll be easier for Discharge to catch up than will Anthony. So we'll see if we can't get a throttle trace going into turn 1. It is flat out. What's the top speed going to be? Approaching 240. We just hit it. 241 I saw for a split second, and he's barely lifting. Good rotation in that car. So he's running.
The closing speed is beautiful.
He's running really trimmed out, but he's got a lot of speed in the car and a lot of rotation. So I think Panther Racing has that car set up very nicely for Discharge to be able to slingshot and make moves when it's just one or two cars in front of him.
They did
Good.
actually lose a second, so they need to gather back up here and start doing what they were doing earlier.
Discharge struggling there. Oh, it's very slow for those two cars in turns 3.
Anthony looking to make a move on Discharge down the front straight. Discharge is not going to let it happen, though.
Oh, Anthony's actually lifting here. He's waiting. Now he goes.
Now
Now
Discharge is lifting.
Gam lifts. So I mean, they're trying to figure something out because they know they need to catch. I mean, they're going to be pitting in I guess 8 or so laps, 7 or 8 laps.
I think Anthony should be flat out, and Discharge should build up his big run he gets on the low wings, and then blow by Anthony as he is about to do here. But then when they come back around, Anthony gets a big run, but it's not enough to catch back up. So I think Discharge needs to actually lift off going into turn 1 to allow Anthony to actually fully pass him, and then Discharge can get a big run again back into turn 3.
Well, this might be a good opportunity here if Anthony can get sucked up to him. If he doesn't lift.
We'll see what he does. We need Anthony to go flat out and Discharge to lift, and then here we go.
Yeah, there he goes. So it is working.
It out.
Oh, Gam missed the corner though completely.
Ooh.
He's up in the gray. Oh, he just lost so much time all the way back to where he was originally. Now he's got to catch back up again.
That's not a deal breaker since Discharge has the faster wings for just running with 2 cars.
Meanwhile, up front, we got Napa Boy looking to close on Carter. Going to be a very, very graceful pass. Napa Boy closes and has a pretty decent gap as Carter smacks the wall right there. That is going to definitely make that gap bigger. Napa Boy is now our new leader.
So we expect, from our earlier report from Bubble, we expect the cars to pit in about 5 laps time.
I'm going to go confirm that report right now.
Alrighty. So Bubble's going to go double check with the drivers and their fuel strategies. But if they do pit as early as we think they will, then they will struggle. I mean, they will not be able to make it on one more stop. It'll be 2 more after this.
We are on lap 121 of 200. So right now, I feel like all these drivers, it's just a bad attrition at this point.
Okay, so I would actually like to update it. They might pit a little bit earlier, so we could see them pit, as early as in 2 laps.
Oh, man.
This is really going to throw them off because they might have to pit. Yeah, they'll end up having to pit again at the ending of this race.
They will. If they pit, let's see, they pitted on lap 94 last time. Right now, they're looking to only make it almost 30 laps. It looks like I'm closer to 29. So they will most certainly have to pit twice more.
You see right here, Carter looking to close on Napa. As I was saying, you got to really consider how tired some of these drivers are. Like, at this point, it's getting close to a point where this is just a battle of attrition. It's just seeing who can last the longest. But strategy, I would definitely say, is the bigger player here. As Agent was getting into, we are very, very close to seeing a bunch of green flag pit stops. So it will be interesting to see whose strategy works out the most.
And I think as we've approached those pit stops, I think the drivers have started to push more. And that's going to hurt Discharge and Anthony's chances because these 3 drivers pushing, they're slingshotting each other the same as Anthony and Discharge. We don't see pit stops this time, but now that the drivers know it's going to be 2 more stops after this one, and they don't have to save for those 2 stops, I wouldn't be surprised if it's flat out, and that might be Discharge and Anthony's chances really, really down the drain.
So what I can confirm, at least from what I heard from our leader Carter in the 38, it's likely he comes in this lap or the next. So we'll have to see what they do.
Comes Napa Boy around to the inside.
Yep, a good pass for Napa there. Corey Wilson following pretty close behind Carter. It might depend on, for Carter, where he is on track position. You don't really want to follow another car directly into the pits. And
Napa's going down the blend line. Now Carter, now Corey. All of them are coming in. They got to watch their speed. All
I
clean.
think all of them made it through clean.
So I have to see what Gam and Anthony do. They're side by side right now through turn 3. They almost touch, actually. Corey's already in his box. Now, since they're low on fuel, this is like a full fuel load going in the car, so the pit stops are much longer. Gam and Anthony are going to stay out. 24K is already out of his pits. Carter's in his. Napa going all the way to the end of pit road. He's in the first stall as Anthony and Gam go by.
And
Carter comes out right behind Corey.
Corey Wilson jumped Carter in the pit stops there.
Napa waiting on his fuel. He gets a splash. He's out.
Oh, look at that. Stop for Napa. He's way out in front.
So we'll have to see how long Gam and Anthony can go. They're entering turn 3 now. They're just at the grandstands. Now they're in the corner. And Napa's on the back straightaway. They're not that far ahead, so we'll have to see what their time lost is pitting. And Gam's not going to come in this time. Neither is Anthony.
They stayed out an extra lap last time. Looks like they're going to stay out an extra 2 on this one. As Discharge lifts into turn 1, Anthony's going to take the spot.
Anthony takes that away from Discharge. Right now, these two know that they are leading, and they got to make this last. They got to make that fuel last as long as they can. I'm really interested to see what Discharge's fuel strategy is going to be like. He's got a huge run on Anthony as Anthony lifts off a little bit. I think they might be pitting here very, very soon.
Likely so. I think they're...
I will alert you if they do come in this time.
Well, we've got them on stream. We are watching them as the gap between the other 3 cars have kind of dispersed.
Anthony's lifting. Gam, yeah,
down.
they're both coming in.
So pitting.
Oh, Anthony sends it in the entry. They're both clean though.
A very good.
Now
entry.
it's watching Napa. Napa's out of 4. He's on the front straightaway, so they are going to lose some time, but hopefully for them it's not upwards of 20 seconds because that would be miserable.
I'm afraid for their case, it's likely is still going to be about 24 seconds. They have both yet to actually go in the pits.
Oh, they hit each other. Anthony missed his stall. It's going to mess up their strategy completely because Gam is going to come out earlier than Anthony by probably a second or 2. Yeah, there's Gam.
Oh, and
a couple seconds later, now
huge.
Anthony's out.
That might not be something Anthony can recover from.
That is very, very tough break for Anthony. I just know he is fuming right now in that cockpit.
If there's no caution, their race is done.
I have to agree
That is
with you
what
on
they are
one.
praying for. But fortunately for them, caution looks very unlikely.
I mean, we'll have to see the gap. We'll have to see how much they are behind, as Corey's caught Napa now for the lead.
When do you think we could see the final pit stops?
The final pit stops is going to be around 180, 185, 186 maybe, I don't know. Somewhere around there. It's in the 180s, mid 180s.
Right, they're running about 30 laps each stint now, so yeah.
The next stop would be 150s.
Mid 150s, mid 180s, if they run that fuel out. Now, for that last stop, you do not want to wait that much. If I'm a driver, remember, you can pit earlier and take less time on the pit stops to fuel up. So if I know I can make 30 laps, I want to pit around lap 170 and take a shorter pit stop on the last stop. I wonder if we'll see any of the drivers do that, if they'll all come to that conclusion the same way I have.
The big 3 making their way down the back straightaway. In turn 3, Carter has to let off there a little bit. Meanwhile, Anthony is struggling to make his way around. He makes it onto the back straightaway starting now. The gap between the leaders and him is sizable. I'm starting to wonder Anthony could potentially be lapped here. Although we have a long while before something like that could happen.
Right. And you know what? Further on the strategy, if I'm one of the drivers in the top 3, I would actually be full save during this stint. Because if I can full save in this stint and extend by a few laps, then the next pit stop will be even shorter. So if I can save during this green flag run and pit later than the other drivers, that means my last pit stop will be shorter. And if I can pit far enough ahead to be on the lowest wings, run quality laps, and be out of the draft of the cars behind, that could be a win and not have to fight for it.
It's a very good point, Agent. Oh, God. Lap 130 of 200 here at the 95th running of the Indianapolis 500. Anthony looks to overtake.
He does. He can make some move. They lost about 2 seconds trying to sort through their pit stops and trying to catch back up to each other. Really ruined their strategy completely. This is their only real opportunity to catch back up because the last stint is just not as long. It's like 10 laps less. They're not going to have enough time. So if they want to make this catching up part of their strategy perfect, then they need to do it now and not mess up at all.
That was a good move in a turn 3 for Discharge. He got the slingshot, was able to get past Anthony. Was going to see the gap at the line. Anthony entering very low there. That did not look ideal. But they're approaching the start-finish line now as they cross the yard of bricks. What's the gap going to be? It is 25.6 seconds. So Anthony makes the move into turn 1. They're still trying to slingshot back and forth, but it is it's rough with Anthony not on lower wings, I think. And I'm not sure if they changed wings during that pit stop or not, but I would have been on the radio if I was Discharged, telling Anthony to get on a lower wing for running by yourself.
I mean, how this is gonna end up working is, I don't think they're gonna catch all the way back up to the, to the pack. But ideally, how this works is they catch up as much as possible, and they'll pit obviously a lap or two after, per what they did earlier. But they'll be caught up enough where they can catch the draft, and maybe, just maybe, to the final stint, they can be right there with the main pack, and we'd have 5 cars battling for the win.
Well, I said I don't know if Anthony changed his wing, but what I saw in the turn 1 there might have told me something different. I do not know if Discharge lifted or not, but a big run for Anthony, and he's actually Discharge.
Excuse me. 69 to go here at Indianapolis, and we are now in, I believe, we're getting close to 2 hours and 30 minutes of recording. I think we are there now. So everyone is obviously very tired. We're just wanting.
Oh, Discharge! He broke a tire.
Ooh!
Discharge is gonna be.
No!
He's out.
Oh!
He's out of the race.
And he sped, and caution is out.
Yellow is out.
And we lost another one. He smacked the wall off of turn 4. Oh man,
we've seen that somewhere before.
I can't believe that the Panther Racing
just
number
like
4
Schechter.
car.
Just like Schechter did.
You're right. Just like Thomas Schechter. He smacks the wall out of turn 4.
It was exactly like real life. I cannot believe he just did that.
You better. I don't believe the coincidence.
I can't believe it.
Oh my goodness.
Just
this
as Schechter
completely
did.
changes the race.
Just as Schechter did in 02.
Caution is out. 68 laps to go. The number 4 Panther Racing National Guard car driven by Discharge. He gets in the dirty air. He's high in turns 4. And he smacks the wall and breaks his right front suspension and his nose cone. And he is out of the race.
History repeats itself.
Well, this does give Anthony a chance back into the race, and it actually ups the stakes for everyone involved. A 4-car race, it'll be more split revenue and earnings between everyone that finishes, but that's really unfortunate that that happened to Gam.
I mean, we talked about running the lower wings and how it was faster for 2 cars and how they needed to draft together, but that was the risk you took. One wing's faster, but the dirty air is worse, and you can wash wide and end it all just like that. And we saw it happen off of turn 4. So for Anthony, that's actually the best thing that could have happened. As much as he was working with discharge, Anthony loved to see that. He's back in the race now.
This is a huge win for Anthony. So I believe he is one of the top contenders now. I do not believe anyone will need to pit here, but we might see a few pit stops, but I am not sure.
It would be crazy considering we just saw 30 lap stints, but if someone really saved a lot, they could.
Yeah, I mean,
it would
be
a pit stop.
It would be, yeah, they'd pit here, they'd pit again under green right around the middle of 160.
Yep.
And if they can somehow save,
they would need to
an
make
extra 10 or so laps.
They would need to make it a 168, and
that'd be very hard.
Right. Well, that would mean another 33 laps. They want to make it 33 laps after this one, and then another 33 lap stint to go to the end. That would make it on one more stop. So pitting here and saving a lot. Now remember, after watching the drive-throughs and the pit stops before, I think it's about 30 seconds lost. So it would be worth it as long as you don't drop more than 30 seconds behind in order to save that fuel.
All right, well, pits are open this time. We'll see how this goes.
And I think if I was a driver here, I would be pitting.
Coming out of 4, pits are open. Let's see who's taking.
Napa looks like
Anyone
he's headed
stay
that
out?
way.
Napa's staying out.
Everyone
Anthony
stays
stays out
out.
too.
So no one
I
pits.
don't understand that.
Neither do I. I think they could really save enough.
This is terrible for them. This is gonna put them in a really tough situation, actually.
Now it's for sure 2 stops to the end, without pitting there. So we're gonna see, if it's green, we're gonna see 2 green flag pit stop cycles for these drivers. It's gonna be 65 to go when we hit the green flag and cross the yard of bricks. And it'll be 4 cars. No more saving, flat out duel for the win and 5,000 Robux. As they're having
5,000 Robux
Formula Drift session in the grass here of turn 1.
That's just 5,000 for the winner. I mean, we have the extra, all those earnings for people that finish too. That's the thing, though. If you DNF, you don't get that part of the earnings. So these guys, they want to race, but they still want to finish because they have something to gain from finishing the race.
Yeah.
So we might see some crazy moves, or it could be very conservative again. We might see single file until like the final stint.
I'd honestly be surprised if we saw that. These guys are race car drivers. They're gonna want to have a little bit of a battle at least.
Oh yeah, we also have to a reminder that Corey's on his last car, so I mean, if something does happen to him, I don't know how he would save it, but if something does happen, he's pretty much out. He'd be out of the race. It would be a 3-car duel.
This is this is not the first time, obviously, here at IMS where we have had a very, very short field. If we can go back to the very disastrous 2005 U.S. Grand Prix here at Indianapolis, I don't think I really want to open that can of worms, but race finished, I believe, with only 5, maybe 4 cars. I cannot remember the exact amount. So history might be repeating itself, although this race, I will admit, is 1,000 times better than that.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. What an amazing start from Carter. Carter jumps around the outside. He's in the lead. Start.
That was the most incredible restart I've ever seen from the
That
number
was
38
beautiful.
machine.
That was amazing. As we are green here again at Indianapolis, everyone is back into single file formation. 24K is going to get a run.
Here comes
Napa
Napa.
boy.
Napa's going for the lead.
They're
Oh, he
side by
parks
side.
on the
He has
apex,
to
though.
lift. Corey Wilson is tight in the dirty air. Napa's still on the inside. So Corey Wilson drops to 4th, and Carter's trying to hold it around the outside. They're side by side off of turn 2.
Napa boy right now looking to have a run. They're side by side, literally wheel to wheel. Oh, they're getting close.
They almost touched. I think they did touch just a little bit.
I don't think so.
You
I think
saw?
it kept it clean. Still there.
Oh, he's coming
Carter's
up.
still there.
So tight.
Oh,
He's
Napa
not
took
clear.
it away.
Right here with Anthony. That's going to get tight right there. Corey Wilson makes it out, though.
So these 4
Coming down
cars
the
are
front straightaway.
getting after it.
64 to go.
64 to go, and Napa leads. Carter's in 2nd place after a phenomenal restart, and they're starting to single out a little bit here. Anthony's very close to Corey Wilson, as Carter runs a little bit wide on the exit.
Corey Wilson looks to make a move on Carter.
Beautiful move. Wait, so fast going into turn 3.
Now into the short chute. Carter's still trying to hang on to that P3 position. I believe he is in a great spot right now. Now, where is Anthony? Anthony has dropped back.
He
is
dropped back.
in the
Maybe he might be
fuel-saving
trying to
mode.
save.
He might now.
Carter makes no.
don't
Carter backs off too. No, Carter is saving. Carter just did save right there.
Interesting. So now that we're back to committing to 2 stops, the more you save on this stop, the shorter your pit stop for the end is. Actually, Carter looks to the inside into turn 2. That's a very late move. He does file back in line and hits the wall. We saw from discharge just how dangerous it is to hit the wall on the exits. If you hit it the wrong way, you absolutely could shred a tire off of your car and be out of the race, in the case of Corey Wilson at least.
Out of turn 4, onto the front straight. Everyone's in line. This is anyone's race at this point. Napa boy weaving as they head down the
snake.
straightaway.
They're all in a pack right here. Thought they would be more spread out, but seems like at the end of the straightaways, a lot of them, earlier in the race would lift, but I mean they still are lifting, but not nearly as much as they were earlier. They're really starting to pack up at the end of the straights.
We're watching the telemetry
Remember
of
that
Carter.
rule.
And this
when
time he's flat
they-
out. This time
Ooh,
here he goes. Carter to the
Carter.
lead. He's looking at the inside. He's going to take it in turn 3.
That is an amazing run from Carter. Remember the rule though. These drivers can snake down the front straight. They cannot go below that pit line though. That is against the rules. As Napa boy looks to retake it. Bold move there on the inside.
A good move from Napa. Is he high? Oh, he was, but he kept it out of the wall. It was a clean exit through turn 1 and a good run through turn 2. Napa will keep the lead as Corey Wilson and Anthony wash out a little bit wide there. So I think Anthony did lower his wings a little bit, trimmed out to be working with discharge. And after not pitting, I think he might be struggling a little bit now, falling behind 3 cars. So would love to see if he's struggling or not. I don't think we've heard from him on the radio though.
Carter's got to run. So does Corey. Corey backs off. Carter's going to take it though. He makes the pass.
Oh, but he's wide. He's
Now
wide.
Napa
Here comes
comes back.
Napa. Napa clears him, and it's going to be back to Napa in the lead. Although off the turn 2, here comes Carter with a big run to the inside.
Corey's got an even bigger run. He has to back out super hard all the way down 20 miles an hour for Corey.
Well, I think Napa was was slow in front of him, and Corey just had nowhere to go. He's playing it smart here, still 60 to go, but you definitely kind of feel the urgency that just comes up at the end of every single one of these races at Indianapolis.
Does Napa make a move? Yes, he does. Goes in the inside.
There goes Napa.
Corey follows. He lifts again. So Corey, he looks like he doesn't want to pass right now. He kind of just wants to sit here, wait to see what's going to happen. You know, analyze if he doesn't know what wing they're on, try and guess by how they're racing up front. And I guess maybe he can save a little bit of fuel. And by doing this, I know Anthony definitely can save a lot of fuel, but it will benefit him later whenever they get to the pits. He will have a faster stop.
It definitely will. On this stint, I don't necessarily want a faster stop. I want to pit as late as possible, so that I can catch back up with the draft. And then for the final stop, I want to pit right as early as I possibly can on the last stop, because that will give me the shortest pit stop and then flat out to the end. If you're not on fully trimmed wings on that last stop, you might just trim it all the way. And just put up with the dirty air for a little bit, because if you could get out front and get a big run, you could be gone, and you will be
Napa
very
closes
hard to
the
pass.
door.
Oh yeah, that was
very
slice.
dangerous. I'm trying to see if Anthony's saving or if he's just really struggling in dirty air. I mean, he's full throttle, 40, 41, 2, 3, really fast down the back straightaway.
Yeah, but that's behind 3 cars. It sounds like he does still have a bit of downforce on if he's only going 243 with 3 cars in front of him. We saw the likes of Kimi before doing 246. So
Carter looking to get a big run here on Napa boy. Coming to 57 to go here at Indy. It is anyone's race still. Napa, though, I believe, has maybe led the most laps thus far.
This is, despite the early cautions, this has really turned out to be a very entertaining race. There's just so much strategy going on. It's getting pretty crazy.
I would agree. Has been a great race thus far.
We're at a point in the race now where they could pit now and make it on one more stop. But as I've said, my last stop wants to be when that ticker in the top left says 30 to go. Which means the latest I can pit now means a shorter stop then.
Ford needs another energy drink.
Up front.
I'm not tapping out. I am not tapping out.
Carter,
can't let it happen.
Carter looks kind of close here to Napa off of turn 2.
24K actually fell back.
He did. I think that was more of a good run from Carter rather than a bad run for Corey Wilson. Here comes Carter. To the inside, he's going to take the lead into turn 3.
Carter takes that lead away from Napa. Now diving into the short chute. Carter, I think, might be the favorite to win this race right now. I think he has become my pick to win.
I'm glad I could convince you.
Oh, yeah, you did. But then again, Kimi dropped out.
Through turn 1, Carter just running that curb a little bit. Napa, he's higher off the exit. He keeps it off the wall, though. It's still clean for Napa. I think I heard Anthony downshift further back in the pack. He's really slow off of turn 2. He still has the momentum, but struggling with the dirty air, I think, because I heard that car downshift.
Carter did actually lift as the leader, so I guess I haven't heard the stream. Some of them are still trying to save. Carter was definitely lifting down at the end of the straightaway.
So you said Carter lifting. I have not seen any, snaking maneuvers from him so far. You'd think he'd want to be defending right now, but it appears Anthony is gaining on Corey Wilson, looking to make a move right here.
Anthony.
Oh, Carter slows down in the middle of the corner. Here comes Napa. I think Carter just drug the brake a little bit in turn 1 there, and Napa is on the inside, and he's going to go by.
Heavy. Anthony lifts heavily off the throttle right now. I don't know what's happening with him.
Oh, Napa,
But-
he gets hit. He's
Oh,
going up
he's
to the
a wreck.
wall.
Can he
Oh,
save
shit,
it?
wreck.
He saved
my
it!
goodness.
He saved it! I can't believe it! I can't believe it! There's not
That
gonna be a
is,
caution for that because he's still going. He doesn't have damage. No, Carter
Oh,
wrecked!
Carter hit the-
Carter wrecked at turn 4!
That will be a yellow. Oh my.
We were infatuated with Napa's save, and then Carter up front off of turn 4 was tight and hit the wall.
I
Oh
feel
my
like
goodness.
I feel like Scott Goodyear right now because I'm just so deadpan, not really much emotion, but I am very, very just stunned by that save from Napa.
Yeah, that's so unfortunate for Carter. He's on his last car. So, if it comes down to it, if both of the last car drivers wreck, we would have to call the race early. There wouldn't be a 2-car shootout. So, we'll have to watch for that. It was what was set pre-race.
How many cars do we need to officially continue the race? 3?
3.
3 cars must be present. Okay, there we go. 3 cars must be present in order for the race to continue. So, if 2 cars wreck, then that would be the end of the race officially, I believe.
Just
So,
hope, pray that doesn't happen.
absolutely, I want to see this to the end. Strategy-wise, with this caution, I think you've got to pit now. Most certainly, you've got to pit now, and then you will pit again at about 30 to go. So a shorter stint during this one.
Actually, I mean, if they pit now, they might be able to go to like 20 to go.
Well, they could,
Napa
but
Boy
that would be
goes-
a longer pit stop.
Yeah, they
if they
could.
go to 20
They
to
would be
go.
going. They'd be going to. Yeah, it would. They'd be going to about 177, 178 around there.
Yeah, but they don't want to do that.
Not to
know.
interrupt, but
Oh, good.
Napa Boy just went on the access road and then back onto, like, just drove on the access road for a bit and back onto the main track. I don't know what's really happening there, but
Might have been adjusting his belts. Gets pretty wonky down there.
yeah.
So
Right now,
should-
everyone
after
heads on the
This
pit
is
road.
high G forces. You know.
Now, Bubble, back to what we were saying. You know, you pit here, and you do not want to extend the stint long because that's a longer pit stop for you, longer time spent in pit lane. So if you could, the difference between running this fuel run to the end and pitting when you need to is going to be about 7 or 8 laps. And I mean, if we do some math real quick.
Oh no, math. 30
laps. You're running almost 3 or 4% of fuel a lap. That's going to be 3 or 4 tenths of a second every single lap you stay out longer that you lose. So if you stay out, 9 laps longer times 3.5 tenths of a second, you would lose 3.15 seconds on the pit stop if you stayed out.
Our leader Corey Wilson says he needs to.
Well-
he needs to poop really bad.
Well, go in your pants like a real driver.
52 to go.
Our leader Corey Wilson says he needs to poop really bad. It's coming from multiple people saying, I'm gonna go talk to him.
I wonder if race control would issue a momentary pause here. Oh, and there it is. There's a red flag.
And red flag is out.
So
It's terrible, dude. It's so bad in there. He's like he started begging me to throw the red flag. He immediately
well, the
stopped.
red
driving.
flag has been thrown. We are going to take a small intermission here and return, and it should be between this time once pacing is resumed.
Bring up the carb day practice. Obviously, Timmy was our fastest, followed by Anthony. and we got to see an amazing performance by Jamiroquai for the Carb Day concert.
You should have heard. I wish I could have clipped that. Bro, I should have clipped that. That was awesome. He was like, I gotta poop so bad. Please red flag it.
I gotta go get some coffee. I'll be right back. I'm a snack. Wait, Bubble, how long are you red flagging it for?
I don't know. Whenever Corey Wilson comes back, I'm gonna go. Whenever Agent comes.
Here, wait for me. I'm gonna go grab a snack.
All right, I think we're back. Forward if you are.
I am. I'm just eating right now. But yeah.
All right, I think we are close to wrapping up our intermission here.
Much closer pack. Going on the complete lap game. But yeah, as you mentioned,
And there we go.
the race was so
Oh, I
good.
think Napa might be. No, he's back. Okay, we're good. All right,
Caution
we'll
is,
go green this time then.
Caution is out. We are about to go green this time. So 52 to go. When we cross the line, it'll be 51. Easily one more stop from here. But again, as much as you can save in this stint, that's a shorter pit stop.
Into turn 3, Corey's P1 after his little potty break. Anthony P2, Napa P3, and Carter P4.
All right, we're in the start zone. And it's
Race
green.
Control has waved the green flag. Corey Wilson with a good jump. Carter with another great start from behind.
Oh, Napa blocks him. Way up in the corner. That could have been really dangerous. Carter had to lift after that one.
I don't know
Very
if it was
aggressive.
as much of a block or just getting out of the groove and wide. I don't think it was intentional to move up like that in the middle of the corner because that is extremely dangerous. And Napa with a good corner. I think he's going to have a run on Anthony when we come through turn 2 here. Here he comes. He's looking to the inside. Looking to the inside of Anthony. Does he get the run? He actually does have a decent run. I think Anthony's going to lift
Anthony's
off.
backing off.
Yep. So into turn 3, all 4 cars are right here. It's Corey Wilson leading from Napa, then Anthony, and finally Carter. We're going to hit the line. It's going to be 50 laps remaining in the Indy 500 and 5,000 Robux for the winner. Right now, it is provisionally in the hands of Corey Wilson in the number 10 car.
Anthony on the attack.
Oh, big run from both cars.
Somebody
Anthony's
just
gonna go
fell
down
out
low.
of the sky and landed on the front straightaway. I think they're out of the way now, but
Oh, that was
was-
Tim. He was
that
trying
was
to get a picture.
crazy.
Did he land in the flag stand?
I think he did. We saw him bounce around for a second. It was just outside of the fence on the front straightaway. Back to the real racing. And there's a crash. Anthony Spence, he saves it.
Oh, he saved it. He saved it. They're still good.
Green
I
flag
completely
is still
missed that.
out.
I was tapped out. I didn't even see what happened.
They were starting to go
Anthony
3
spun.
wide, and Anthony bounced off of the right rear of Napa as Napa was making a move on Corey Wilson. They went 3 wide, and there was contact. Anthony slid and saved it. Now that person is jumping up and down on the flag stand. They seem to be having the time of their life. I don't know if they have the authorization to be there, but
They
so
do.
long as they don't jump on the track, they will be okay.
Napa is your leader heading into the turn 2 short shoot. Now on the back straight, Napa starting to pull away from the rest of the field.
Napa with a good gap. Sounds like my co-commentator has something delicious. As a little bit of lag here. But Corey Wilson's still in
me?
second. No, Vort.
What's he for? What you got?
You got something delicious over there, baby?
I got some what now?
You got food, man. What do you got?
It's delicious. Sounds delicious.
I'm eating Captain's wafer crackers,
Ooh, nice.
grilled cheese flavored.
Kind of, wafers makes me. It reminds me of vanilla wafers. Kind of want some vanilla
Oh,
wafers.
Napa
just
hits
slammed
the wall.
I will say, even though it's about a 7/10 lead, that can go down and if Corey really wanted to,
Right.
that could go down
He could charge.
really fast.
Just 5 years ago, finished to the 2006 Indy 500, we saw a bigger gap close in 1 lap.
Oh, definitely.
Penske car was definitely cheating. There's no way that was legal.
We hear Bubbles' point of view. Will we see something
Dude, it was
similar
an
today?
insane gap. It very well could. I mean, we saw something like that in testing. It was between Ford and DNF and Corey, who's actually in second, the one that caught Ford. Oh,
and
Anthony slams the
smacks
wall.
I
Smacked
think
the
he's
wall
trying to
right
save
there.
fuel.
But
Well,
yeah, I mean, it was about a second gap, and out of turn 4, I mean, Ford was way out in front, and Corey hustled in the draft, followed all the snaking, and they actually wrecked at the line. Ford got it by just a single little tire because he was being spun out as he was winning, but we could see something similar. As Abba actually ruined all of that gap, he smacked the wall in the corner entry.
well, to add, Andretti Green has not won since 2007, so this definitely could be a turning point race for them. They have not had the best luck, so Corey Wilson, it looks like he is closing. Could Chip Ganassi possibly win for the second year in the row?
Well, Corey was
Yeah,
saving right there. He actually lifted. He had a run. He was about to come to Napa, but he definitely lifted there.
It was Anthony is wide. Mentioning teams winning, I'm not sure when the last time Foyt won was, but Anthony would like to bring the 14 back into victory lane.
I believe no
Indianapolis.
team wants this win more, though, than Foyt, but
Absolutely.
you also have to remember,
especially in that number
Carter's-
14 car. I mean, to do it
Carter has
like
not-
AJ did.
yeah. Ray Hall Letterman has not won since 2004 after Buddy Rice got the win.
Carter got
As
a run.
And here he comes.
Carter with a run right there.
So fast, 239.
The speeds here are just incredible with this car.
I think he's going to build up another run off of turn 2. There's just 45 laps to go. We will be approaching green flag pit stops. I think they would come in about 15 laps. These drivers could stretch in another 10 after that. As Carter goes to the lead to the inside of Napa. Through turn 3, Carter has the lead and completes that move. As
Anthony has
further
to-
back, there's a little bit of battle. Carter hit the wall there.
I gotta say, even though this is a debut race, it's pretty good. I love these cars. They look good. They sound good. The physics are good. The pit strategy is amazing. So I'm definitely excited for the 2011 season that we're gonna do.
Gotta love that sound, courtesy of Bubble. These are meant to sound like the cars before they added a muffler, i.e. before they ruined them. Carter slows up right there.
Carter and Corey Wilson both wide.
Yeah, Corey took it way wide. Corey's definitely saving. I mean, he could have been
Anthony
up
is
there
too.
and passed for the lead by now.
I was on board with Corey Wilson, and we saw Anthony fall off the back. So all these drivers are saving right now. I'm excited to see what lap they pit. I'm hoping they choose the right strategy and pit earlier here in about 15 laps, as we actually see 2 former drivers. Oh, Discharge, is he dancing on the flag stand?
Likely.
Looks like he is.
Discharge may have had a few too many beers.
Yeah, he crashed out earlier in the number 4 Panther racing car into turn 4. He washed wide and smacked the wall.
Did you just say he was in the 4 Panther racing car?
Discharge was, yes. He
Discharge. Sorry, yes.
The
You
National
said
Guard
discharge.
car. Yeah.
God, I need to splash some water on my face.
And
I'm not giving up an inch though.
Here comes Carter. Carter looking high. He's getting
He was
some
way
clean air.
wide.
Oh, he hits the wall.
Yeah,
though.
on the wall. He's got to be careful of that wall. That could take him out of the race. It just one bad hit.
It could. It's how he crashed before. He's now on his last car, so he's got to be
Gotta
careful
be
with
extra
that.
careful.
Oh, someone just
Two
flew in the background. That might have been Dim. So we've got
2 drivers are on their last car.
It's probably the media running around. They're getting pictures.
Speaking of which, I gotta get a few, so I will get on that.
still the 4 cars.
As Khalid Campbell sends the "I've gone completely mental" GIF in race chat.
That's Kimmy for any viewers who do not know who Khalid Campbell is.
I'm real quick.
And big.
Very close on
for the
turn 4.
lead.
Here we go.
Corey lifted.
Wilson.
Carter looking. Now Carter lifts.
Lots of lifting from Corey Wilson here.
I'm going to snap a few photos real quick. I will post in the Indianapolis
24K,
Motor Speedway.
238 down the straightaway and then lifts. So saving going on here. I don't know what lap they can go to. I forgot. I think Agent probably knows.
They can go to probably about 20 to go.
So
but
around
I don't think they
178,
want to go.
77?
I don't think they want to go that far, though. I think they should pit in about 10 laps, honestly.
Right, as you say, right at 30 to go. So what are you against the staying out longer?
Because you'll have a 3.5 second longer pit stop.
Do you think someone could try and stay out?
I mean, there's no real reason to. But you know, you will be a little bit dictated by what the drivers around you do. Because if you're by yourself, it'll be tough. But honestly, with the drivers saving as they are right now, I would pit with 30 to go even if I'm by myself. If I am by myself, I'm trimming my wings the most and just run quality laps, because I will gain 3.5 seconds on the pit cycle by pitting earlier.
Very good point there. Right now, riding on board with Napa, or I am at least. Carter looking to close right here. We got 39 laps to go. We are getting very, very close. All these drivers have that money and within their grasp.
Yep, on board with Corey Wilson there. He downshifts a little bit in turn 3. We heard him lift going into 3 down the back straightaway.
I will mention one thing. That entry to that corner is very dangerous. They could clip that curb and fly up like Napa did that one time in turn 1.
That's very true. And they've got to do it 38 more times.
They are extending the track as far as possible, all the way to the wall. All the way down to the curb and all the way back up.
Carter slides up. Goes
way
Anthony
up.
is on the curb. He might have a run here if he wants to take it. Is he going to lift, though? Yes, Anthony is lifting at the back of the pack.
Big checkup from
Ooh.
Carter.
I think Carter's trying to keep his trying to keep that number 38 car
Very
on the
close to
bottom
that
of the
wall.
track, but he's very tight in the dirty air of Napa. He's struggling to follow closely.
And that's dangerous because that once again that wall, if he goes up too far, it's likely over.
Yeah, something about the turn 4 wall. If you just hit it at the wrong angle, it'll rip your tire off. And if it happens to either Carter or Corey Wilson, they will be out of the race as Corey Wilson gets wide off of turn 2.
This is Indianapolis, and we're seeing some Chicago
turn 2 is an
style
issue
races.
too. Turn 2 is an issue too because remember that's what Gam's first reset was. Remember he hit a wall clip, or hit the wall, whatever you want to call it. He hit the wall of turn 2 same way everyone else did, and he flipped over from that.
That's right.
So ideally, you actually want to stay off of every single wall.
It's also slow, so. Now the 36 laps to go. Green flag pit stops coming up soon. 4 cars in the pack.
This will be the final pit stops for everyone here in the field.
And once they've done that pit stop, it's gonna get like crazy,
And
like
Carter,
stupid crazy.
Did Carter hit the wall
Carter
there
hit
on
the
turn 2? I think he did.
Yeah, he smacked the wall.
Not ideal. There's a nice fan sitting on the entry to turn 3. He gave the drivers a
That's
wave
good.
last time. Now he's just standing there.
They were really tight going into 3. Checking up, it's very dangerous. That close.
Yeah, pretty good gap back behind Napa. Anthony has gone past Carter now. He's on. You look to the inside of. Oh, he came back up. I thought he was gonna cut across the front wing of Carter, but Carter let off and gave him the space. But almost
That
a
could
full
have been
second
bad.
behind the leader, though.
Oh, we hear. Oh, another driver has to use the bathroom, but it's green flag conditions. There's no red flag this time.
Well, they should have gone
Carter
just 20
will
laps
have
ago.
to. Carter can just go in his suit.
Go ahead.
It was just 20 laps ago. We had a red flag for that reason. So
We definitely are seeing a Ricky Bobby, Ricky Bobby. I think so. I can't even remember. A Talladega Nights type situation. Earlier.
Red flag it. I gotta use the bathroom.
Napa boy up front with a huge lead over the rest of the field.
I think Napa's decided he's not saving anymore. I think he might be going flat out up front. We're gonna ride on board with him here out of turn 2 and pull up his telemetry and see if he lifts all the way down the back straightaway.
The chat on YouTube is interesting. Minor Penguin has said Carter said poop is coming out. So
That's a little bit.
Carter may have to clean his Service Central.
Carter's gonna have to. Oh no!
Has to clean his Service Central Alpine Stars suit up here in a second. Anyways,
still on board with Napa. We have not. We've almost ridden with him for a full lap. He has not.
Is he flat out?
Once. Yeah, he is completely flat out up front. I think he's.
Let me go confirm what lap they're trying to go to.
I think he's forcing the other cars to pick up the pace a little bit and can't save quite as much. Now, if these drivers are smart, I think they'll pit in about 3 laps. Maybe a little bit later to be absolutely certain you can go flat out to the end on fuel, but I think they pit early. As Napa hits the wall on entry, he has to lift big time.
Okay, I have confirmation. They're trying to go to 25 to go.
So definitely not too long.
I'm surprised at the call to pit so late, honestly. We know you can make it at least 30 laps.
Corey Wilson takes that lead away. We are seeing some Chicagoland style racing here.
Definitely. I heard a car downshift to the back. That was Carter. He's saving some fuel, I think.
Well, if I were him, I'd want to be.
Someone in the back is going super fast. 43, 44, 6, 7, 247 for Carter. Down the back straightaway into turn 3.
247.
247, almost 250 miles an hour. It's getting. I mean, if he wasn't saving, because he saved a little bit at the beginning of the straightaway, he started going full at the ending. And he was going so fast.
We're watching the speed here.
That might be the fastest speed we have ever seen here.
Oh, now he's
in
lifting.
Verizon IndyCar history.
I think it is.
I mean, that's crazy.
We were seeing 242 consistently at Auto Club. This has well eclipsed that.
See, yeah, Napa's saving. So I mean, when I was in the driver's channel, Napa was, he was full pushing, but he was like, I need Corey to catch me. I want to try and save, and that's when I asked them, when they wanted to pit, and they said around 25 to go. So maybe probably what he's doing is trying to save, because I mean they have their set lap, so likely they're just trying to get the shortest amount of pit time available. As Carter's gonna, oh my goodness, that could have been terrible.
Next the wall.
Dude, he was coming with such a big run.
Everyone was lifting there, and Carter lifted last second, and it veered the car off to the right. Now, a lot of times, these drivers will keep some right hand down on the straights because the cars are skewed so far left to make the turns on the oval. And I think once he lifted off, the front tires bit, and he smacked the wall. But he will catch up now in the draft. I expect to see big speeds into turn 1, since he's now trying to catch back up to the pack.
Yeah, we'll see. If he doesn't lift, he could be going insanely fast.
We're going to see 211 on the exit. We're going to see what kind of speed he can get up to. As he crosses the line, it's already doing 237. We're up to 44, 45 for a second.
45 a little bit. That was really fast. Anthony was going 45 too.
The really big speeds for these drivers. Not as good of an exit there for Carter.
Corey trying to catch up, see if he makes a move.
It's like he's going to try to
He
close.
lifts. All right, well, stops in a couple laps. So after that, it's just going to be chaos. I mean, it's going to be full push to the end.
Yeah, those are going to be our final round of pit stops, and then it'll be all out to see who can claim 5,000 Robux. This time, Carter hit 246.
Napa Boy is going to get the award for most laps led. I'm pretty sure he has snagged that a long time ago, but we're just throwing it out there.
I think so as well. But definitely a pretty dominant showing today, honestly. Napa's
Carter no save, 243.
Really kept his nose clean this race, Napa. Normally he can be known to be a part of some wrecks, cause some drama in the IndyCar series. This race has been quite a bit different. He's been very clean. I think he's had 2 big saves now.
All right, couple laps. Should be seeing pit stops.
So Napa just tapped the brakes there in turn 1 to get the extra rotation. That will allow Corey Wilson to close, but I think he's just going to use that to save more fuel.
See right here, Napa Boy has to take a very defensive line to prevent 24K from passing him.
He's really close back behind. I
Oh.
thought Carter was going to hit the wall, but he
Yeah,
slowed up
big
enough to
derriere.
stay out of the wall.
It was
Napa's
crazy.
wide.
He entered 246, so he had to slow down a lot.
Napa's wide. Corey Wilson with a good run, but he's using it to lift again. Whenever Napa makes a mistake, Corey Wilson just sees that as a bigger chance to lift off and save more fuel. So that shows his mentality coming into this last pit stop. And 26 to go. I wonder if anyone stops short here. Get a shorter pit stop.
Oh, Carter was out of the groove. 185. He lost so much time. He upshifts now. Now back to the regular speed. Now they're snaking.
I think we're about to see pit stops because they are now starting to fight a little bit for position.
Yeah, Anthony looking to the inside, trying to get under Corey.
I apologize.
Really shallow entry. He's gonna slide up
Yeah,
a
he
lot.
does wash up. Napa looks like he's staying out. He does. Oh, Carter's pitting. Carter's pitting a lap
Carter's-
early.
He's coming in.
Carter down the pit road.
They are snaking down the front straightaway. We're gonna keep
Oh,
watching the
you
battle
guys
for
can
the
watch
lead.
the leaders. I'll tell you when Carter comes out.
We're gonna keep watching for the battle for the lead. Bubbles still watching Carter as Anthony almost sends it on the inside of Corey Wilson.
Carter's in his box.
I expect the top three to pit here. Napa trying to break the draft.
All right, Carter's out.
Carter is now out of pit road.
He'll be looking for a clean exit. The rest of the drivers are flying into turn 3.
Oh, for the lead.
Here he comes.
Corey
Wilson.
Tries to close, does not get there.
And Carter's at pit exit. He's out of pits. He's on the access road.
All right. Do they pit
They're
this
slowing
time? Yes,
down.
they do. All
They're
3.
coming in.
Who has the cleanest entry?
Everyone clean, no
Everyone's
speeding.
clean.
Carter's on track. He's full speed now, so he's just gonna push.
Now
Both
Carter,
cars at the back, Anthony and Corey in their box.
Yep, they had clean stops. Corey's out ahead of Anthony. He probably saved a little bit more. This is going to be revealing, though. Napa was out front a lot. He's probably going to have a longer stop. And also, where is Carter? We expect him to come out
Short
of turn
shoot.
4 soon.
Entering turn 4, apex. Out of turn 4, he's on the front straightaway.
We're going to go out to the wide shot, see if we can't see everyone at once. Oh, we hear the cars accelerating.
24K's out. He's ahead of Napa on the pit exit, but Carter's full speed, 229. We'll have to see. Corey's up to speed now, so they're staying out ahead of him.
So Napa did fall behind Corey Wilson after that. Carter, I don't know if he had not as good of a stop or something. Corey Wilson sounds like he's lifting. And he lets Napa by.
We try and save?
I'm not
You
sure.
can go to the end. Maybe he's just trying to be conservative. Knows he's on his last car. Doesn't want to wreck it out.
Carter's,
That would be my guess.
after this turn, they're all going to be going the same speed. I think Carter will still be in the draft, so he will still be in the race. It ended up not working out tremendously for Carter there. But we'll see what the
Let's
gap
see what
is.
the gap is.
Yeah, 2.8. He's
2.8.
going to be fine. He
It's a
will
little-
catch back up. We're going to pull up his telemetry, see how fast he's going.
225 mid-corner is
Oh,
crazy.
my.
He is going very fast right
He's
now.
flying! 220 into turn 2.
He's got to lift a ton, though. He's catching up to Anthony rapidly, though. I think he's got the advantage of draft, but not as much dirty air. This is the golden spot to be in. Yep, because here he comes into turn 3, 245 miles per hour, and 220, 215 mid-corner.
Just got to be careful of that wall. If he hits it, it's over.
He's being real
24K
careful in the
might
center of the
not
corner.
be
So
close.
it was 2.8 last time. I have a feeling this time it's going to be below 2.
And Corey, does he lift? Corey's got the run.
2.1.
So Corey's still lifting.
246
It's
for
just-
Carter.
Corey just doesn't want to go yet. He's still lifting.
Oh, and Carter's very tight now.
I heard a downshift, I thought.
Yeah, it
Back
was
there.
definitely Carter. I think I saw 185. But
Napa's snaking.
he's definitely in the draft now. We're going to look up front because Carter is definitely still in the picture.
Carter is trying as hard as he possibly can to chase them down.
Lots of snaking for Napa. And Carter actually
Just a little
lost on that lap.
Fun fact, we've just reached 3 hours of this race. So we're at a pretty full-length Indianapolis 500 now.
Yeah, it's coming down to the end. You know, this race at first, when we first started, I thought it was going to be miserable. It's going to be really long, like way longer than it is right now. Thought it was going to be a ton of wrecks, but this has turned out very entertaining. The green flag pit stops, the overtakes, the pit strategy is just, it's amazing.
Very interested to see the end.
Yeah, I think Carter's really struggling with mid-corner speed right now. He's not really catching up after that last lap. And look at the gap. Yeah, there's still 2.3.
He probably should have gone on a higher wing.
Maybe so.
If he chose a lower wing, he's pretty much his race is over.
I think he's lifting a little bit more than he needs to, though. He can carry momentum speed, but he's scared of the walls. I think he's worried about
basically
running
like
into the wall.
It's like Nolan Siegel after he flipped.
Yeah, precisely.
He did it once, never wants to do it again.
He's still doing 242 into the corner. This lap.
But the braking is just his minimum speed is so slow.
I know he's not carrying a lot of speed in the middle of the corner at all. That's a better turn 4 though.
He is in 4th place, so he has to really worry about all that dirty air created by 3 cars.
That's right.
Oh, Corey's going for the lead. Makes it work.
Front. That's a big pass for the lead, and actually Carter caught up a lot that lap, so.
Really close to that wall. It scares me now every time he goes up near it.
Well, he's gonna have to. It's how you keep your speed here. And there you go, better turn 2. So Carter should catch up more this lap. We're still watching the speed trace on Carter. He's picking up a lot more draft now, 241.
Coming up on 18
up
to go.
Up front, Napa going for the lead. Inside the short chute. Really close to the wall that time, Carter was.
And they're fighting up front. This is going to be it. I think they're turning it up now. And Carter's definitely
Corey
closer.
Backs off. Corey now takes the run. Here comes Anthony, too. Anthony's got a crazy run. He's got to break.
Side by side up front. Napa's going to hold it on the outside.
Around the outside!
He keeps the lead. 3 cars right there. Nose to tail.
This is insane.
Now they washed up. Carter is slowly catching. It was 1.8. Now it's 1.5. He's definitely got bigger draft.
3 cars. Here comes Corey Wilson to the outside. Anthony's going to stay behind. He has nowhere to go yet. And Corey Wilson
Look
will
at Carter.
file
He caught up so much. Carter's right there.
Carter is closing.
I wonder if he's going to take this run that he gets.
Oh, he's going to have a big run if he can keep it in the corner.
Oh, he can't. He has to break. Oh, here they come back with another run.
Corey Wilson looking to the inside. He's got it. Anthony with another big run. He's still saving it. Man, this reminds me of the 2021 Indy 500 finish. The top 2 switching positions. Third has nowhere to go.
They're so close. The nose cone to attenuator scares me because if you get touched just a little bit, it sends you sideways.
Any amount of contact could throw this race away for both Corey Wilson and for Carter, who's in the back and pushing to try to catch. It was under a second last lap.
Definitely pushing. 242 down into that corner. That was turn 3.
Napa's wide. He does keep the speed, though, keeps it out of the wall. That's going to allow Carter to catch up more. Anthony's very close to Napa.
Get your cameras ready. We could have a photo finish.
That's what I was going to say with like 50 to go. I was going to say it might be too early, but now that we're here, might want to get it ready, Napa and Anthony. They make contact.
That's right. Napa up the inside of Anthony. He does complete the pass. Carter is caught up a lot.
Oh, Napa hit the curb. Almost the same thing that happened in turn 1.
Anthony's really
right there.
high. He hits the wall.
That's too close. Now Corey's starting to break the draft. He's doing the snake.
Look at the comparison of speed. Carter's coming with about 10 miles an hour faster than Anthony into turn 3. Carter is there now.
Oh,
so much
close.
In the corner,
it's so scary.
All right, they launch off of turn 4. Corey Wilson holds it narrow.
allowing everyone else to catch up, though.
It's definitely helping Carter. Anthony's very wide. Oh,
Napa
the
trying
top
to make
two.
a
Napa looking to the
move.
inside.
That's
late
a
move.
dangerous place to make a move.
Carter's close to Anthony. Doesn't
Yeah,
make a move
Napa's
on the
trying to lift
backstretch.
off. Now they're both trying to lift off. This is messing up both of their runs. They're gonna get swallowed by these guys.
Here
They
comes
both
Carter.
tried to let each other by at the same time.
Oh my.
Carter, he's
He's
sending
going
it up
for
the
it!
inside.
Carter goes for it.
Ladies and gentlemen, Carter has arrived and he's making a move immediately, and there's contact. Corey Wilson keeps the spot off of turn 4, but Carter's up to third. There's just 14 laps to go this time.
Anthony's going for it for P4. Corey has a run. He goes to the inside for the lead.
2 by 2.
They make
Corey
contact
Wilson.
for the lead.
He's
Napa holds it
really
on the
tight. He
outside.
hits
Oh,
the
he's
wall.
loose.
In the wall.
That probably messed up his turning. He hit the right rear or left rear of Napa, and he slid up. You could see it in his car. I was in chase cam. He started sliding up. He was trying to correct, but he went into the wall. Anthony goes for it. Oh, wait, the nose cone to attenuator. Napa hit him just a little bit.
Really tight racing here in the top 4. Anthony off of turn 4. Napa's very close behind, and Carter was wide. They're side by side. Here comes Napa. Napa to the inside. Across the line. I don't know who led that line. Oh, there's a crash! Anthony!
Caution is out!
Anthony's
on his final car. No wrecks all day for Anthony, and now at the ending of the race, gets involved and he's on his final car.
And that puts 3 out of the 4 final cars on their last car. With just 13 laps to go, I think we'll see the green with 11 to go. It's going to be a shootout.
I can't believe that just happened.
This is insane. I may sound super tired right now, but I am 100% just like on the edge of my seat. I'm like biting my nails. It's so intense.
Well, there'd be no reason to pit now. However,
you would for sure not.
It is required. I do have to open it.
You might see someone try to make a wing adjustment for this last run. If someone's not happy with their wings, you might see a change.
I feel like Carter should do it. I mean, his wings, they just looked way too low that entire last run.
Carter was definitely one struggling in dirty air. Honestly, there's only 4 cars here. Even if I'm the leader, I would absolutely pit if I don't like my wing.
I don't know. Napa looks pretty comfortable. So did Corey. I think the only issues is Carter and Anthony. They were really tight back in dirty air.
They are. Now some of that is just being behind 2 cars. It's way more difficult as soon as you're behind that second car. You know, just 1 car of dirty air is not that bad, but behind 2 cars.
All right, well, we'll see if they come in. Who wants to keep track position? Who wants to make an adjustment?
Any
Corey
takers?
Wilson fading in.
Does everyone
Napa
go
in?
2 adjustments.
3, 4
They all
adjustments.
come in.
4 wing
Everyone's going
adjustments.
So everyone's
hates
coming
it.
in for an adjustment. Corey's in his box. Or the fuel doesn't really matter here. They just pitted earlier, so they're going to be very quick stops.
That's right. More than enough to make it to the end. They were good already. I think Corey came out in front of Carter back there. That's right. So then, and Anthony will need his laps updated after crashing and respawning his car. So here we go. The race off pit road is going to be between Corey and Napa. And Napa's off first.
Napa's got it.
Napa has gotten it.
So everyone has a clean stop. They're the same order exiting as they entered. It's 12 to go now. When we cross the line and see the green flag, it'll be 11 to go.
95th running of the Indianapolis 500. Got nearly 11 to go. Real quick before we go green, I would like to remind everyone that next weekend, for the closing few races of the Verizon IndyCar Series, we will be heading to Long Pond, Pennsylvania for the ABC Supply Co. 500 at Pocono Raceway.
No, Napa's dropping to the back.
I think
Or is-
I'm not sure what's happening with
Something
Napa.
happened. Is he dropping to the back?
I
He's
think
dropping
he
to the
is.
back.
He just dropped to the back. I'm not sure what for.
That puts Corey Wilson to the lead.
I think he's wanting to get a run off of everyone, but the dirty air will make it.
Maybe he
Yeah.
can get one of those
cars.
Carter-esque restarts, you know, that he had out of the short shoot,
Maybe
fly around
so,
the outside of
but,
everybody.
I mean, it's tough because everyone's reacting to the green flag here, so I don't see how you get much of an advantage on a restart. Now you just have to deal with cars in front of you.
I'm gonna go look at that wreck again. That was very close. Anthony almost DNF'd immediately because it would have been a fence hit. Remember, the fence hit is an immediate DNF.
I think we have
Oh, it was very close.
Corey Wilson is not sure if it's green this time, which it is. We saw the race control throw the green this time signal. So we should see green flag here in a
See
moment.
what
We're going to
happens
go on board with Napa. Green flag is out, and Napa
Oh,
does
Anthony
get a good
didn't get
start.
going.
He's on the outside of Anthony, side by side for third. Up front, it's still Corey Wilson. Oh, Anthony has to lift, and Napa's going to take away P3. So weaving up front, Corey Wilson in the lead. Here comes Napa. Look at the outside of Carter. Can he make that move stick in turn one? Oh, he can.
big
Carter has to
checkup.
lift off. And Napa takes P2.
All right, so they've all adjusted their wings. They're all good on fuel. So this just depends on how far they're willing to go to win this race.
That's right. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a move like we saw in 2014, late up the inside.
And I've made that
I'm
move in
predicting
testing, and it spun me out.
future Indy 500s here in 2011.
Oh, Napa's trying to make it around the
Oh,
outside. He's
no
gonna
way,
go
he's
to
gonna
the
hit the wall.
He's at the
He
wall.
hits the wall.
That's the wall.
Can't make that move, especially not this year.
That's right. You do not want to hit the wall off turn 4 in 2011, especially if you're in a National Guard car.
Anthony, beautiful move. Flies by Carter.
That'd be just like Thomas Schechter.
It would be.
Just like Schechter.
There's not
He's
going
gonna
to
try
be
it again out of turn 2. I don't know. It's just not a good area to make these moves.
I'm not
He's
sure
gotta
what
wait.
wing adjustment he made. I wonder if he went to a higher wing and now he can't get as big of a run on the straightaways, but is able to corner very well. So by the time he gets to turn 4 and turn 2, he's all over him, but has nowhere to go. Here we go.
Anthony's good in the dirty air too. Look at that. He was able to follow pretty good.
Carter has fallen back big time.
Yeah, I was about to say this is very spread out for it to be 10 to go off of a restart. So
That's right. Here
we'll
we
have to
go.
see if Carter can catch
Here's a
back
good
up.
run for Napa. Corey Wilson weaving. We're going to cross the line with 9 to go. Napa says it's not time yet. He's waiting. He stays on the outside going into turn 1. Anthony closes
Oh,
a ton.
Anthony's all over the
Here they go. Here they go.
So
Napa, look at the
close.
inside. Anthony's high. He might hit the wall here. He stays out of it. Oh, a big run. A
Napa's
big
got
run
the
down the
run.
back straightaway. Napa is looking to the outside.
He's there.
Getting close.
Oh, side by side through here is
Oh,
so
can he
crazy.
clear him on the outside? It's very tight.
No, Corey's there.
Corey Wilson's still there, side by side through turn 4. Here we go then.
Anthony's about to get double draft.
Anthony is going to fly. So is Carter. Across the line, it's going to be Corey Wilson. I think he's got lower wings. 8 to go.
Oh, look at Anthony. The catch-up is insane. Carter, too.
Oh, but Corey Wilson's tight. They make contact.
touch!
Napa keeping it on the outside through turn 2.
Anthony's right
Anthony
there.
trying his hardest, as well as Carter to close. Carter knows his time is numbered.
Anthony's
Here
going.
goes Anthony.
He's going.
He's looking
Is
for
there a gap?
everything.
He has to break.
Oh,
has
he
to break.
slips out. Oh, Corey Wilson's
Oh.
wide. Here comes Napa back up the inside. He's going to get the move done this time, I think.
Oh, they're so close.
Through turn 4. Oh, Corey
Oh,
Wilson's wide. I think
Corey's
he hit
the
the wall.
wall. Anthony
Anthony.
almost coming down each other.
Anthony!
Oh my goodness.
He's looking for it on the inside into 1. Oh, it's very tight. Napa's holding him, squeezing him. Anthony keeps it on the inside. Into turn 2, Napa slices down, but then he leaves the lane.
Oh, Carter caught back up. He's back in this race. He just can't hit the wall. And oh, they're really tight down the back straightaway.
Yep. Fading down the inside is Napa.
Carter! Here comes Carter!
A big run for Carter.
Carter with a huge run.
Oh, contact up front.
The outside!
Anthony had to lift, and Napa got the lead back. Carter's on the outside now.
Oh, they almost
Very
touched.
close.
I think they did touch a little bit. Here comes Corey.
A big run for Corey Wilson to the inside of Anthony. He's going to box him in behind Napa. Corey
that
Wilson
was
to the
very
lead.
close
He's
to
going to the
being a block.
inside.
He can't do it!
All 4 cars are right here. Just 0.3 of a second separate all 4 of them.
Oh, where does Anthony go? He's about to get the run of a lifetime.
I don't know if he has one. He's
Oh,
going 3 wide up
here
the
he
outside. Anthony on the inside of turn 3. He enters narrow, but he takes the lead of the Indy 500. He's going to see 5 to go this time.
Everyone behind entered very shallow, though. They're going to slide up. Napa's going to the wall. Oh, 24K almost wrecked right there.
Anthony weaving. 5 to go.
My heart is
They're
pounding out
saving
of my
behind. They're
chest.
saving behind. They're trying to wait for this run. Napa's got something.
Oh, here comes Napa.
He's going. What a run!
Here's to the inside. Turn 2, Napa with a huge run.
Oh, they're so tight to the wall. Oh, this is a massive run from Carter.
He's not going to have anywhere to go.
Oh,
Anthony's way
Anthony.
wide.
He's in the gray. He's not going to be able to make the corner. He's got to lift.
Anthony loses out that time. Carter's up to P2.
Now the run comes again on the straightaway. Carter takes it. And where does Anthony go? Does he save?
Napa does not defend.
4 to go.
Oh, he thought about it. He thought about it.
Carter threw him a shoulder. You saw Carter go to the left a little bit.
Oh,
Napa
he's wide.
undercuts. He does the switchback in turn 1, and Napa takes the lead back.
All right, another run down the back straightaway. This time it comes from
It's
Corey.
Anthony.
Backs
Anthony.
off, though. So does Anthony.
Oh, Anthony lifts way out. He's going to go to the back here. He does not want to be up front when it comes to the end of this race. This is going to be
big
it.
tight from Corey. Big tight.
Oh, Anthony's very tight, too.
Anthony's
He dropped
way
off.
back.
All right, 3 to go. Is Anthony run out of time? 4 drivers fighting
Carter
for
has something.
5,000 Robux and an Indy 500 win.
Carter's going. He's tied. He's going to get crossed over again. They almost make contact.
Carter managed to stay
Yes,
on the
they
outside,
might
but he's
be out of
so
the-
tight.
Contention.
I think Anthony's out of this race. Unless he can pull something out, I don't think there's any way he's going to catch up.
Carter to the inside, turn 3. This time he makes it stick. He's cleaner this time.
That was
Carter.
wrong. Anthony's right there. Anthony's back. He's back. He's right there.
All it took was one good corner, and Anthony's back. He's going to get a big run behind 3 cars of draft on the front straightaway. Do we see them weaving as we see 2 to go this time?
Oh, Carter's looking to go defensive. Not now. Napa's to the inside. Oh, the checking up very tight, very close to each other. Napa's going to get away with it from the lead, though.
Anthony's back in it. There's just 2 laps remaining to crown an Indy 500 champion.
It's now or never.
They're saving. They don't want to do it. Now he might be forced to do something. They don't want to pass. They saved. They all saved.
I think
But
it's
did they
gonna-
save too much?
I don't know. Napa's pulling away. I think they're going to have one good shot into turn 3. It's going to be either Carter or Corey to have the
bumped
best
Carter
run.
a little bit.
A huge snake. as we see the white flag here at Indianapolis. Corey makes the move for P2. Is that the move?
Diving down into turn
Oh,
one.
he's right there.
Here we go. It's super tight. Here they
Smacks
come.
the wall.
Napa in the
Corey's out
lead.
of it.
Corey with a run through turn 2.
Oh, Corey washes up the track. There's no run. Anthony has to back out. They almost touched tires. Does Corey have anything for Napa? Did he make the right wing adjustments? Carter in the back. They hit. I think it's over. I think Napa has this
I think
one.
Napa's got it.
Here we go. Out of the turn 4. They can't get to him. Napa boy is going to
Napa
be
is
your
going
Indy
to win
500
it.
champion.
Oh my God.
What a race.
What a race.
I can't believe how that turned out. That was insane. They almost wrecked like 5 times in the last 10 laps. That was crazy.
Napa will win the 95th Indianapolis 500.
And on the 100th anniversary of the first Indy 500, Napa is your champion.
I think that was. Oh, he gets turned down the back straightaway.
And that's going to be his last reset.
he's out of the race. Oh, man. I think that was one of the craziest Roblox races I've seen in a long, long time.
Well, everyone, it's been an honor commentating. I am unfortunate. It is 1:05 here EST, and I am exhausted, so I'm going to be hopping off. But I will be back to rejoin you guys next Saturday at Pocono. So
Absolutely
until we meet again.
amazing. Thank you so much for joining us for it.
Man, I'm sweating. I'm like hot. My head is really hot.
What an
It's
incredible ending. We're going to see if we can get interviews here in a second. I think we actually already have one, as Napa's going to take his broken car to the start-finish line. We might have an interview with the P2 finisher, Corey Wilson, here in a second. And there he is. So, Corey Wilson, man, you finished P2 at the end. I know it's not what you were looking for, but, man, the racing at the end was crazy. And the strategy throughout the race. Tell me about your perspective of the ending there.
I'm so sad. Man, bro, these last 2 races of IndyCar, I promised my mom I would win them because she had went away. Oh my goodness, it just sucks. I sold turn 2 so badly. I made the move at the right time. I just couldn't wrap it around turn 2, and I just gave everything turn 3. And I dropped one wing down. I didn't know what to do. I was kind of just pressured, bro. And I couldn't really get to one last lap. It's disappointing. And yeah.
I was gonna ask about that run off of turn 2. You were super tight. Was there a wing level adjustment made in the last pit stop or something that added to that and kept you from having to run into turn 3 on the last lap?
Yeah, last pit stop, I dropped one wing. I dropped down one wing so I could get like some better straightaway speed, but I could have got him. It's just 2 races just not being there the right time. I made the move. I just couldn't get it. Like if I got it wrapped around turn 2 better, I could have done something. But and we're just short of it again.
Alrighty. Well, thank you for sharing a word with us, Corey Wilson. A very strong race from you. You will get some Robux as one of the finishers, and best of luck next week in the IndyCar race at Pocono. That was a bit of an upset, Corey Wilson, after a very exciting finish. He comes away P2, but now we are going to have the privilege to speak with the Indy 500 champion. That is going to be Napa, who drove the number 28 GoDaddy machine. Napa, you win the race. You're an Indy 500 champion. Tell me how you feel.
Man, I feel good, bro. I've been waiting for this day. Oh my days. I just want to thank Carter and Z for just giving me this amazing race. That was hella fun to race with them all race. Oh my days.
So I gotta ask you, there's just a few laps remaining. You're in the lead, and it looks like that's not where you want to be. It looks like the runs behind are so big you do not want to be in the lead. But coming to the white flag, they start fighting in P2. You have a good distance for on the back straightaway of the white flag. Tell me what was going through your mind when you saw the cars behind fighting and you were growing a gap in the lead on the final lap.
Man, it was insane. I was praying that they kept battling, and they luckily did. And I was praying I was able to get to turn 1 fast enough before Z could even send it on my inside. My heart was really racing, and man, luck was on our side today.
Absolutely. And another question about the race itself. That last pit stop, everyone pit. Was there a wing level adjustment you made in that last pit stop that made the difference in the end for you?
I was really thinking about it when I was entering pit road, but I knew the dirty air was gonna be bad because I was gonna get passed. So I decided to keep my wing level and pray for the best, which luckily got me the win.
Alrighty. And then one last question. Going into next weekend at Pocono, we expect it to kind of race similarly to these cars for the IndyCar Series. How do you think about your chances to win in the Verizon IndyCar Series at Pocono?
I still don't think I'm gonna win at Pocono, but it is what it is, and I just want to have fun for the rest of the season, because next season I'm gonna be insane.
Alrighty. Well, congratulations on your win, Napa. You are the Indy 500 champion, and you received 5,000 Robux, I believe. So, very well driven from you today, and congratulations.
Thank you.
And let's see here. I think that will do it for the interviews. We were able to talk to our top 2 finishers. What an incredible race there at the end. Unfortunately, Vort had to leave, but he was an amazing commentator with us. And Bubble giving us reports on the drivers and commentating with us at the end. Bubble, did you have any final thoughts for us today?
Yeah, me and Vort mutually agreed it was one of the best draw races we'd ever seen, like in the history of our careers. It was crazy. We had the start controversy. We had the cautions. We got to see our big wrecks. I mean, the start. I don't think a lot of people talk about it. I mean, that was a big wreck. That was a wheel launch at the start of the race. So we got to see that. We got to see some high-speed action. We got a preview of what the package is going to be like on other tracks. So, I mean, it's really exciting. It was a very interesting race. Me and Vort, although tired, were amazed. It was amazing. Not even as a commentator, just as a spectator. I hope everyone in the chat enjoyed it too, because yeah, I mean, it was an exciting finish coming down to the wire. There was a lot of passes, risky moves, 3 wide. It was crazy.
Absolutely. I have to agree with you, and I'm so excited to race in this series next season, or whatever ends up being my future. This league is going to put on an amazing show next season with these cars, and finishing off this season. Yeah, you will. I just want to keep people updated. Next Friday, we will see race 2 for the NASCAR Nationwide Series. They will be headed to Auto Club. Bubba will be racing. He's going for the championship there. He's going for back-to-back championships in Bubble's Cup. And you will see that right here, Plato's Apex Network on Bubble, the Wonder Boys channel. And then next Saturday for the Verizon IndyCar Series race, the 3rd to final race of the season. After what's it been, 13 weeks, we're about to crown a champion. It's between me or Kimmy or Fearless, and that's being broadcasted by our good friends over on C Sports. C Broadcasting Group. They do a great job. So go check them out on YouTube. The Verizon IndyCar Series is live streamed over there. And I think that will do it for us. An incredible race tonight at Indianapolis. Napa Boy is your winner and champion. And he wins 5,000 Robux. And is one of the first official winners in these 2011 cars, which we will see as the lead cars next season. So thanks for joining, everyone. And we will see you all next time.